A very good evening to you all. Good afternoon or good morning, depending on where you are across the world. It's the big game in the Premier League this afternoon, this morning, or this evening, depending where you are across the world. As Manchester City take on Arsenal. Both teams know that with a victory today, they will head to the top of the summit of the Premier League table. A very good afternoon to Media Radio Jingles and Gaming, who says, "Come on, Arsenal," as they are an Arsenal fan this evening. Alongside me is our match commentator Paul James. We'll let to him in a second for some headline team news for this game, but let me quickly run through the Premier League scores of the weekend so far. On Saturday, West Ham United 0, Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Fulham 3, Newcastle United 1, Leicester City 1, Everton 1, Everton off the mark this season in the Premier League, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0. And earlier today, Brighton of Albion 2, Nottingham Forest 2. And what a game it was at the Amex earlier today, with Morgan Gibbs-White sent off for a second bookable offence, which sparked a mass brawl on the benches, with both managers having a go at for official Anthony Taylor and both managers in that game. Fabian Essler of Brighton, Nuno Espirito Santo for Nottingham Forest, shown the red card. There was a game in the Championship earlier today. We'll tell you about that in just a moment, with the result of that in just a moment. But first, let's bring in our match commentator for this afternoon's game. It's Paul James, and Paul has got all the important headline team news for this game. Paul.
Thank you, Ross. Good afternoon, everybody. Manchester City are going to make 4 changes today from the 2-1 the 2-1 victory over Brentford. Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol and Rodri, and also Jeremy Doku come in. John Stones, Rico Lewis, Mateo Kovacic and Jack Grealish all drop to the bench. For Arsenal, well, Ben White only passed a fitness test to go on the bench today. So Ricardo Calafiori steps in at left back. Jurrien Timmer moves to right back. Jorginho also makes way for Declan Rice, who's back after suspension in the league. And he plays today in a 4-2-3-1 formation for Arsenal today. Ross, back to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. We'll be back with Paul in just a second. Also, let me bring you the score from the Championship today. It was a Lancashire derby, Preston North End against Blackburn Rovers, and they finished Preston North End 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. 2 men sent off in that game. Sam Greenwood sent off for a bad challenge in the first half on 42 minutes. And on 89 minutes, Owen Beck gave away a free kick. Only a yellow card in my opinion, but the referee produced a red card. The referee didn't really have a control of the game, Matt Donoghue, in my opinion, this afternoon in the game at Deepdale. Osmasic, who was booked for Preston, should have seen red instead of Owen Beck, in my view, after Osmasic bit the back of the unknown Liverpool man, but the unknown Liverpool man saw red as he opted to level up the numbers on the field of play. Some more action taking place today. We'll tell you about those in half time for you. Some games in the WSL Women's Championship, Women's Champions League, Liga, the Bundesliga, Serie A, Dutch Eredivisie, and the Scottish League Cup, as well as also La Liga. We'll bring you those results a little bit later on. We've got a comment in the comments section. Media Radio Jingle and Gaming says, "Hello, Russell and Paul. Really important game for the Premier League table and the title race for both sides." Absolutely, indeed. And just begin Paul in a second. Obviously, Paul, Arsenal, Man City's only defeated the last 6 games was 2-1 defeat to Brentford. Arsenal won the last 6 Premier League away games, the best one since March to September 2013. Do you think that could continue today? As we say, good evening, good afternoon to Mike Coleman, should I say. Good afternoon, Mike.
Yeah, I think City are in a very strong position here. I mean, they've got quality all over the field. The goal-scoring threat, not just from Haaland, but from Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku, Savinho can score as well from his. He was the only expenditure spent this summer by Manchester City. And of course, that was €25 million signing from Troyes in France. And he could well prove to be a provider and a goal scorer. On the bench, even when you start cutting through some of these players who may go off, you've got Jack Grealish who can score goals, Phil Foden who can score goals. It's Mateo Kovacic who can create chances. It's endless for Manchester City, absolutely endless. Arsenal, of course, who were without their main goal scorer, their main goal scoring provider, I should say. Um, Martin Odegaard, they completely lack creativity in the Champions League game in the week without Martin Odegaard. They definitely missed him. They do have possible goal scoring on the bench with Raheem Sterling and a creator as well. Kai Havertz gets goals and Leandro Trossard can get goals, but really Arsenal lack a quality goal scorer. And with the injuries that they've got, no Ben White today. This could prove to be a very challenging day for Arsenal today.
Yes, absolutely, Paul. And just one quick question before we bring it over to you as the teams are about to get ready to come out at the Etihad Stadium this afternoon. Kevin De Bruyne not involved for Manchester City this afternoon, not even on the subs bench this afternoon for the citizens. How big a miss do you think Kevin De Bruyne will be for Manchester City today?
Under normal circumstances, in a normal team, Kevin De Bruyne would be seriously missed. But Manchester City have the cover. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is still, in my opinion, one of the world's best midfielders. He's outstanding. He can score goals, he can create goals, but Manchester City have that cover to replace him. So I don't think the miss is going to be felt too greatly by City today.
Yes, thank you very much, Paul. We'll be with you in the second media radio jingles and game. It says, hopefully, from an Arsenal fan perspective, Arsenal can be City as they've done before. But Man City do have players that can score goals as they've done in most games. This season could be so tough to decide who comes victorious this afternoon. And my question is more settled, who more than settled for a 0-0 draw this afternoon as the players are now out on the pitch at the Etihad Stadium. One final thing for me to do then is say, hopefully you enjoy our coverage this afternoon as I enjoy over to your match commentator you've been hearing from in the build up to this one with me, Paul James.
Thank you, Russ. Welcome, everybody, and good afternoon to the marquee game of the weekend in the Premier League. And for this game, Manchester City are lining up as follows, with Ederson in goal as usual, Josko Gvardiol, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz and Kyle Walker, who wears the captain's armband. Ilkay Gundogan and Rodri are the two holding midfielders, with Jeremy Doku, Bernardo Silva, and the €25 million signing Savinho and Erling Haaland up front. For Arsenal, well, they've opted to change the tactics a little bit. 4-2-3-1, perhaps flooding the midfield, hoping to break down Manchester City. And Mikel Arteta has set up the following lineup. David Raya in goal, Ricardo Calafiore, Gabriel, William Saliba and Jurrien Timmer, with Declan Rice and Thomas Partey in the holding midfield role. Gabriel Martinelli, Leandro Trossard and Bukayo Saka, who wears the captain's armband, deputising for Martin Odegaard, who's the attacking midfielder on the right-hand side, and Kai Havertz holding the line. So for Manchester City on the substitutes bench, they do have two goalkeepers, Stefan Ortega and Scott Carson. John Stones, Rico Lewis, Mateo Kovacic, Jack Grealish, Mateus Nunes, Phil Foden and James McAtee. So for Arsenal on the bench, well, they have Neto as a substitute goalkeeper, Ben White, who only passed the fitness test to be on the bench today, and Jakub Kivia, Maldini Kakuri, the Albanian 18-year-old, never played for Arsenal, could get his opportunity today. Jorginho, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Ethan Nwaneri, Gabriel Jesus and Raheem Sterling. Congratulations also to Thomas Partey, who starts his 100th Premier League game today. The two teams have met each other a total of 211 times, and 65 wins for Manchester City, 46 draws and 100 wins for Arsenal. Our referee today is Michael Oliver. He's age 39 from Ashington, Northumberland, and he has Stuart Burt, Dan Cook, Andy Madley in fourth official duty, John Brooks, and Richard West in VAR. So Arsenal's record would have been perfect start to the season, like City's, but the blip against Brighton at home is the difference. But Arsenal with a victory can go top of the league today. Manchester City, well, they'll want to win and go top of the league today. A point will be enough for them, however. And right now, the players and the fans are clapping a Manchester a gentleman named Harold Bernstein, who is being memorialised today at the Etihad Stadium. And kickoff about to get underway. Manchester City wearing their blue shirts, sky blue shirts, white shorts, blue socks. Arsenal in their traditional colours of red and white jerseys, white shorts, and red socks. City will get the game underway, attacking the goal to our left. And we already have a comment in the comment section. Media, radio, jingles, and gaming says, I do think City will beat Arsenal. Looking at the injuries Arsenal have, but anything can happen today with the loss of De Bruyne for City as well. Interesting that with De Bruyne missing out. Well, there was rumours stating that he was happy to go to Saudi Arabia. And Pep Guardiola has put that to bed by stating he is staying at Manchester City as we get the game underway. And already Rodri is down, clutching his face. The ball is with the goalkeeper, Ederson, but Rodri is down, clutching his face. And I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But Rodri has gone down, clutching his face immediately from kickoff within a few seconds. So I'd just like to see exactly what happened here. He's still down. Michael Oliver has stopped it. He ran into Kai Havertz. He ran into Kai Havertz. It's very difficult to see exactly. We might get a better look at it here. I didn't see any elbows going up, but Kai Havertz ran right into him. We'll just see if there's any further action being taken. The player is still down right now, and the medical team are finally getting out onto the pitch to make sure he's okay, with it being a head injury. The stoppage is almost immediate, not what you want in the first few seconds of a game like this. Rodri as well, such a key player for Manchester City. And, you can take a look at Rodri's record. His passing record is just incredible, even at this early stage of the season. And you take a look at the effect that he has in that Manchester City team. You see it when he's not in the lineup. Already, he he's made 48 attempted passes and 45 complete this young season, which is a 93.8% ratio for successful passing. So it's a really great job that he does for this Manchester City team. As Kai Havertz is now being called over to Michael Oliver, and we're just going to see what is happening here. Savinho just receiving some instructions from Pep Guardiola. I just want to see if there's any further action being taken here. It actually doesn't look like it. No, the game is going to get back underway, and it's going to get back underway with the ball in possession of the goalkeeper. So no further action. Rodri will just wait to come back on now, as it's cleared downfield by Ederson. The heads go up. It's just headed back to the goalkeeper comfortably there by William Saliba, and David Raya now has possession of the ball. And Manchester and Arsenal can start to build up from the back. And it's with Calafiori. Plays the ball forward there to the number 11, Gabriel Martinelli. Martinelli just drops the ball back there to Calafiori. Calafiori gives the ball to Gabriel, under pressure by the big man Erling Haaland. And it's now picked up right almost by his own byline now is Leandro Trossard. And it finally gets back to the goalkeeper, David Raya, who clears the ball downfield. Bukayo Saka tries to bring the ball down, but Rodri nips in and wins it instead and plays it all the way back to the goalkeeper, Ederson, as that move for Arsenal breaks down. And here's Ruben Diaz for Manchester City. Diaz drops the ball to Kyle Walker. Walker back to Diaz. Diaz drops it back to Ederson, whose kick is really not that convincing this time. Challenging for it is Martinelli, but also the number 2 Kyle Walker, and it's cleared forward. And Haaland is charging in there, just clatters William Saliba there, but Saliba gets right up, but Erling Haaland, big strong guy, just clatters into Saliba there, but Saliba just gets right up. You see there, oh, that's gotta hurt. Just looking at that there, imagine that guy charging into you at full speed like that. But Saliba is back up on his feet now, and he has possession. Lifts the ball over the top, and it's just tried to be, it's won back there by Bernardo Silva. And there's Rodri. Drops the ball back to Walker. Gives the ball there to Akanji. Manuel Akanji holding the ball up there. He's got being looked at by Kai Havertz. He's given the ball back to Ruben Diaz. Diaz back to the goalkeeper Edison. What we'll see from Manchester City is a patient build-up from the back. And they may well just opt to keep possession of the ball, and they strike when the timing is right. Here's Diaz. Plays the ball forward, but it's a poor ball and comfortably intercepted that time by Thomas Partey. Slips the ball back to Ricardo Calafiori and gives it to Gabriel. Gabriel drops the ball back to the goalkeeper David Raya, who clears the ball right-footed downfield, but it's to no one, and it goes all the way through to his opposite number, Edison, at the other end. And City start again with Ruben Diaz. Plays the ball forward there, looking for Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's pass wasn't great, and it's intercepted by Calafiori. Calafiori drops the ball back to Gabriel Martinelli. And here's Gabriel. Back to Raya. Raya releases it to Saliba. Saliba now. He's just on that right-hand side. He's looking for Jurrien Timmer. Finds Timmer and drops the ball back to William Saliba. Saliba plays the ball forward, and it's picked up by Kai Havertz. Oh, Kai Havertz looking for a very optimistic ball to Martinelli, but it reaches him eventually. Unable to control that really was Kyle Walker. It now goes all the way back to Gabriel and back to the goalkeeper, as both sides just taking the high road at the moment. Playing very, very carefully. They don't want to make any early mistakes. That ball is played forward, and it's intercepted by Kyle Walker. It breaks loose now to Manuel Akanji in the centre circle. Gives it to Rodri. To Kyle Walker. And it's back now with Diaz. Diaz plays the ball forward there. Back there by Rodri to Kyle Walker. Bernardo Silva. Walker. Back inside his own half, just by about 10 yards. Gives the ball there into the centre circle to Rodri. Rodri drops the ball back to Diaz. 0-0, 6 minutes gone here at the Etihad Stadium. Nothing to write home about so far. Both sides being very cautious, just feeling each other out at the moment. Here's Manuel Akanji. And the long ball over to the right-hand side finds Bernardo Silva with an exceptional ball. Bernardo Silva in front of Calafiori. Nipping in here with a chance. Oh, and shooting it just wide. Oh, what a chance for Ilkay Gundogan. It just broke through to him and the former German international. It was a really good ball from Bernardo Silva. Just his first touch just flicked it away from Gabriel, and he caught it on the volley and just wide. And the first shot fired there is from Manchester City and Ilkay Gundogan. He fires the shot wide. He might have expected to have done better. I think certainly Pep Guardiola expected him to. And of course, Ilkay Gundogan cost City absolutely nothing. Left Barcelona on a free transfer, as David Raya's goal kick is cleared downfield. And there has been an infraction, and we're going to get a free kick here. Excuse me. Free kick taken midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. And here's Kyle Walker. Just slips the ball forward there to Savinho. Savinho plays the ball through to Erling Haaland, one-on-one, and it's 1-0 to Manchester City. It's Erling Haaland, one-on-one with David Raya, and a comfortable finish for the Norwegian hitman. And 9 minutes gone. It is Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0, and that was too easy, really, for Manchester City. And what was Pep Guardiola's hope in Sabinho being a creator for Erling Haaland has proven to be the case. He will get the assist on that. It was a really good slide rule pass through to Erling Haaland, and he just slid the ball under David Raya and into the net. Erling Haaland continues to set the Premier League alight. I mean, it's just outrageous, his goal-scoring record. But let's just take a look at Haaland's goal-scoring record at the moment. And already this season, he's got 9 goals, and that is an impressive record. And, well, he continues to set the Premier League alight. 9 goals in 4 games this young season. It's 1-0 to Manchester City. And, well, that's 9 in 19 shots, actually. And that is a conversion rate of 47%, which is incredible. Means almost 1 in 2 shots go in. And that is really, really impressive for Erling Haaland. Arsenal have got the game back underway, but City have a throw-in, and it's just cleared away there by Diaz. Arsenal now with Thomas Partey. Gives the ball to Declan Rice. Declan Rice out to the right-hand side to Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka's got Gvardiol in front of him. He tries to play the ball in, looking for Trossard, but that's comfortably won there by Rodri. And now City can break away with Jeremy Doku, but that is a good challenge by Declan Rice. And, well, Manchester City... I'm just being reliably advised that that's Haaland's 100th goal for Manchester City. So congratulations to him. Media radio jingle says, I knew City will score at the opening stages of the game in one way or another. Turton Talks Football, afternoon all. Good afternoon, Luke. Hope you're well. And the ball is won here by Thomas Partey, just in the midfield, but is dispossessed by Bernardo Silva, who hooks the ball into the air. It's headed on there by Rodri, won back by Gabriel, who heads the ball forward. Headed on again by Manuel Akanji. Haaland heads the ball in the air, but Haaland is has fouled Partey, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal inside the centre circle. And, well, Manchester City, as there's Kevin De Bruyne, who is watching on there, not able to play today. He'll be disappointed. This is a huge game. 11 minutes gone. City with the 1-goal lead then. Here's Bukayo Saka. Drops the ball back there. And that's a super long ball looking for Gabriel Martinelli. What a ball. Finds Martinelli on the left-hand side. Gets to the byline. Gets across in. Havertz just tries to cut across Manuel Akanji. But Akanji wins it. And here's Ilkay Gundogan. Bernardo Silva. Plays the ball forward to Haaland. And Haaland drops the ball back to Rodri. And it's now back with Akanji. Akanji plays the ball down the left-hand side, and away goes Jeremy Doku. Saka just watching him. Doku drops the ball back to Manuel Akanji, back to almost the halfway line, in fact. And here's Diaz. Diaz gives the ball there to Kyle Walker. Back to Diaz. Just over the halfway line again, and it's Kyle Walker, as City building up slowly. The ball through there just that was set up for the Haaland goal just seemed to split that Arsenal defence. Just seemed all too easy. Here's Doku. And it's now with Rodri. Rodri plays the ball down the right-hand side. And here's Sabinho in front of Calafiori. Sabinho drops the ball back. And it's now with Rodri again. Ball through there to Gundogan. And the ball now is with Savinho. Savinho to Walker. Diaz. Gundogan. Rodri. Nice quick touch, this touch football from City. And there's a foul. And it's Savinho who is down. He's clutching his shin there. That looked quite painful. I'm just not quite sure. It's just out of the picture shot who got the... who committed the foul. But we'll just take a look. Oh, it looks like it was Gabriel who caught him there. It was a late challenge, but no further action taken from Michael Oliver. Luke says he's doing okay, happy with our point, not happy with the 2 minutes of madness where the official ruined their performance. Side note, shock City score and it's Haaland. And media radio jingles and gaming says, of course, it's Haaland. Well, it was always going to be, wasn't it? It's his 100th goal for Manchester City. Savinio standing over it, along with Ilkay Gundogan. Maybe tempted for a shot here. Here's Gundogan. He does try for the shot. Oh, it's a super save by David Raya. Just flew across to his left-hand side to make that save. As Ilkay Gundogan went for David Raya's near post from this free kick. Round the wall. I just wonder whether it actually hit the post rather than the save. Let's just take a look. Yes, it did actually hit the post. It hit the outside of the post, and it's a throw-in now to Manchester City. Gabriel Martinelli wins the ball back ahead of Kyle Walker, and he's not able to keep the ball in play, though. It goes behind for a corner. And the corner's going to be taken down that right-hand side for Manchester City. We've had 15 minutes gone here at the Etihad Stadium. It's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. And, well, you can see the Arsenal fans are behind that goal. Vast numbers of them. They're not going to be happy with what they've seen so far because they've, at the moment, clearly been second best. Anyway, the corner is going to be taken on that far side. Michael Oliver is just delaying things a little bit. He's having a word with Manuel Akanji. And also Manuel Akanji and also Thomas Partey. Corner is going to be taken by Savinio. Takes it short and drops it to Gundogan. And another Manchester City player has gone down, clutching his ankle. I'm just trying to see who that is this time. It looks like it might be Rod. Oh, it's Rodri, and he's clutching the back of his leg where his hamstring is. Oh my goodness me, that's not good news for Manchester City. He looks in a lot of pain. Let's take a look at this. Cuts across and goes down under the challenge from Partey. There wasn't much on it by Partey, I can promise you that. He barely made contact with him, but he's clutching the back of his knee, actually, and he looks in a lot of pain. So I'm not sure whether he's pulled something or something, he's just tweaked something. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a doctor, but he looks in a lot of pain down there. And well, if it's Rodri, that'll give Pep Guardiola something to worry about because they really do miss him when he's not in the lineup. And he's still down at the moment. And Rodri's statistics really do speak for themselves. Again, his passing ratio is amazing, but also his ability to his completion for long and short passing, it's extremely impressive. This guy does a lot of the little things right. Even the 4 passes that he has made this season for long passes have been 100%. It's incredible. He's working midfield, and Mateo Kovacic is warming up right now. He will be looking like he may come on. Rodri is, well, he looks in a lot of discomfort. And we're just waiting to see what the outcome is of this. And obviously, everybody at the commentary wishes Rodri all the best. And whatever this is, I hope he's able to make a very swift recovery. But he's still down right now, and there's been a number of stoppages in the first half so far. And of course, we're going to take a look at it here. You can see that there's hardly any contact at all. Maybe, well, no, I was going to say for a moment there, maybe Partey's knee catches the back of Rodri's knee, but that was the other knee. That was a left knee, not the right knee. His right knee's the one that appears to have the problem. And, well, while we're doing that, they were just taking another look at this goal, and it was such a well-worked goal. And Savinho, when he won the ball there, he just skipped away from two Arsenal players and then played a beautiful slide rule pass that just split that Arsenal defence in two. And Haaland then just slips the ball past David Raya and celebrates the opening goal. But just look at the way he just turns away from two Manchester City players, Savinho. He's going to be exciting to watch in the Premier League this season. And I think City have got an absolute bargain at 25 million from Troyes for this Brazilian, as Erling Haaland just waving a Manchester City scarf there with that goal. I think he must have just grabbed one from one of the fans. As Rodri now is leaving the field, he's moving very gingerly, and this is not good news for Manchester City. Haaland, well, it looks like Mateo Kovacic. I mean, Pep wants to know, should he be making a change? It looks like that's coming. Mateo Kovacic is going to be coming on, I think, for Manchester City at this stage. He's just stripping off now. So on 20 minutes, we have an enforced substitution for Manchester City. Rodri is going to be coming off, but the corner is going to be taken now. It's in swung and headed out by Kai Havertz, only as far as Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan drops the ball back there to Kyle Walker as we've got this game back underway now. And it's all the way back to Ederson. Ederson lifts the ball long, looking for Sabinho, but that's a good header down by Calafiori. And in the midfield there is won by Ruben Diaz and picked up by Gabriel. Gabriel just drops the ball to Calafiori. Thomas Partey now in the midfield is dispossessed, but he's actually fouled, and it's going to be a free kick. And it looks like we might see the substitution coming up for... Now, indeed, we have, yes, Mateo Kovacic is on, wearing number 8. Rodri is off, and we wish him all the best and hope to see him back soon. So Kovacic is on now. He's not expecting to come on this early on. But I just wonder whether City are just going to reorganise a few things. We'll see. As the referee, Michael Oliver, now is having a word with both Kyle Walker and Bukayo Saka, the two captains. I'm not sure what exactly he's saying. Perhaps maybe just to calm the tackling down a little bit. The ball is long now and it's taken quickly. And here's Gabriel Martinelli down the left. Gets to the byline. Martinelli cuts inside. It's pulled back to Calafiori with a shot. Oh, I say! Calafiori strikes it and it's 1-1. Arsenal are back in it. And it's Ricardo Calafiori with a super strike on 22 minutes. And Arsenal are level. Ricardo Calafiori, with his first start for Arsenal, levels this game. And the City players are furious. They're surrounding the referee, and they're not supposed to do that. Only Kyle Walker is supposed to speak to the referee. He's the captain. But they are furious that that free kick was allowed to be taken quickly. But it was great work by Thomas Partey. He took the free kick quickly and set off Gabriel Martinelli on his way. And Martinelli just cut back here and laid the ball across for Calafiori. What a strike. If you get the opportunity to watch this later on and wherever you get your highlights from, take the time to watch it because it really is a thunderous strike by the Italian international. And Luke Turton says, what a goal, and what a goal indeed. What a strike. It was just curling away from Ederson. He stood absolutely no chance with that. And and Pep Guardiola is furious as he kicks his bench chair there. That's not good. He's going to damage it. That'll cost money. And Ricardo Calafiori celebrates with the Arsenal bench as Arsenal level, and that's not what City was expecting. We get the game back underway, and it's just another free kick now, this time given to Manchester City. Ederson, well, there's nothing he could have done. He gets a yellow card, probably for protesting. And so Ederson goes into the book. Excuse me. Here's Jeremy Doku now. Gets to the byline. There's Jeremy Doku looking to get the cross in. Oh, he does. It goes all the way to the back post, and Calafiori gets a header. It's back to Savinio. And now here's Kyle Walker. Savinio again. Savinio curls the ball into the box towards the back post to Doku. And getting across there, making the challenge was Bukayo Saka, which eventually the ball rolls through to David Raya, who launches the ball downfield. It's comfortably won by Diaz. And it's now with the number 16, number 19 Gundogan. And here's Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva tries to launch the ball in, but it's blocked. And it's with Kyle Walker again. Walker to Diaz. Diaz. Walker. Oh, long ball over to the far side and looking for Doku, but that is well defended that time by Timur, who heads the ball out of play. And Luke Turton says City's fury apparently was around the free kick being taken from the wrong place, so that's interesting as well. Here is Manchester City coming forward again, and it's Akanji who gives the ball to Doku. Doku's got Saka in front of him, just trying to dance away his Doku. You'll probably see Bukayo Saka almost acting like a wing-back to try to keep an eye on the pace of Jeremy Doku. I can't think of too many other of the Arsenal players being able to keep up with that pace. It's dropped back to Manuel Akanji, who takes the ball back into his own half. It's a good ball over to the right-hand side there to Savinio, who's been very impressive early on. And here's Kovacic now for Manchester City, the substitute. Cross to Jeremy Doku again. Doku down the left-hand side. Saka stalking him again. Doku drops the ball back into the midfield to Manuel Akanji again. Akanji goes long over to the left-hand side. What a super ball, to the right-hand side. What a super ball to Savinio. Savinio drops it back to Kyle Walker. And it's now with Kovacic. Walker again. Savinio down that right-hand side. He's got Calafiori in front of him. Plays the ball into the middle to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva takes it to the right-hand side. Silva cuts back. Drops the ball to the edge of the area to Diaz. Diaz back to Kyle Walker. Walker plays the ball to Bernardo Silva. Just down the right-hand side now, Bernardo Silva. Cuts inside, gets the cross in. Oh, it's headed out there. But only as far, really, as Gundogan. Gundogan tries to play the ball in. It's blocked well. Good work there by Leandro Trossard. And gets the ball out of play for a throw-in to Manchester City. 26 minutes gone. It's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 1. Here's Kovacic. Drops the ball there to Gundogan. Gundogan to Savinio. Almost runs into Bernardo Silva there. City still have the ball with Walker. Gundogan. Walker again and back to Gundogan. Gundogan. Kovacic. Kovacic holds up the ball and gives the ball to Walker. City just trying to find a way through this Arsenal defence. Kovacic. Oh, he gives the ball away. Kovacic to Martinelli. Martinelli trying to skip away from both Kovacic now and Akanji. He's not successful. Here's Savinio now with the ball for Manchester City. Savinio cuts into the penalty area. Back to Gundogan. City pressing. Looking for that door through. Here's Kovacic. And Partey just wins the ball back there for Arsenal. And now Arsenal looking for the break. It's a long ball forward looking for Kai Havertz. But Ruben Diaz gets across and makes a challenge. And the ball goes out of play. And in fact, City get the throw-in from that as well. Media Radio Jingles and Gaming says, what a goal. Hopefully more on the way. Mike says, what a goal from Ricky. Indeed, what a goal it was. What a strike. Here's Kovacic. Across to Akanji. Akanji's got Doku over on the left-hand side. Jeremy Doku now has got Saka and Timur in front of him. Saka just knocks the ball out of play. And it's going to be a throw-in. And I think it's been given to Arsenal this time. That ball coming off Doku last. And take a look at Pep Guardiola, who does not look very pleased right now. It's we're almost at the half-hour mark, and Arsenal have sort of come back into the game a lot more after the goal. And Doku just lifts the ball back, but it's intercepted by Saka. And Havertz is dispossessed, and here comes Ilkay Gundogan. And the ball is played across to Bernardo Silva, and here's Savinho, and he's away, Savinho! He gets across into Haaland, and up in the air with the header there is Saliba winning that ahead of Haaland. And here's Kovacic. Kovacic again. Just plays the ball forward down the right-hand side there to the number 26, Savinho. And it's now with Walker. Walker drops the ball back. City just flooding this Arsenal penalty area. The cross is swung in by Ruben Diaz, but it's cleared away. It's only as far, though, as Diaz and back to Jeremy Doku. Doku to Akanji. And it's now with Walker. Walker with a shot, but it's a comfortable save down to his right for David Raya. And this game has all of a sudden exploded to life, and I'm losing my voice. There we go. That's a bit better. Here's William Saliba. Back to Raya. And to Calafiori. Calafiori drops the ball back to Gabriel. Gabriel plays it off Ilkay Gundogan, and that should be a throw into Arsenal, but I think it's been given the other way. Indeed it has, and here's Ruben Diaz. Across to Kovacic. Gundogan. Diaz. Diaz plays the ball down the right-hand side there to Savinho. Savinho drops the ball back there to Walker and gives the ball across there to Akanji via Ruben Diaz. Walker gets the ball back now. Diaz. Back to Walker. And here's Diaz again, just past the centre circle, and he goes down the left-hand side to Jeremy Doku. City struggling to find a way through now. Doku gives the ball to Gundogan. Gundogan lays it off to Akanji. Akanji holds the ball up, and he just takes the ball back and drops the ball back to Gvardiol. Gvardiol. Walker. Walker plays a good ball through to Savinho. Can he get there? No. It goes behind for a goal kick. Just a bit too much on it. Savinho unable to catch that one. As the rain is coming down here in Manchester at the Etihad Stadium, that should add to some excitement. So let's have a look at this situation. So yes, the free kick was absolutely taken from the wrong place. You can see where Timmer is down if you're watching the pictures on the television. So it was absolutely taken from the wrong place. But this is not the first time we see this. I mean, we see free kicks being taken from the wrong place all of the time. This is a common thing in the Premier League. The fact that this led to a goal is the only reason why they're upset with it. And Ricardo Calafiori then celebrates the goal. And Kyle Walker is livid. And, well, we've got a throw-in for Manchester City, which Kyle Walker himself will take. And the ball is out of play by Ricardo Calafiori. And we're going to get another throw-in. Michael Oliver, the latest referee to come under controversy today with this. So I'm sure that we won't hear the last of this goal that was scored by Arsenal. And Ruben Diaz lays the ball over and across there to Manuel Akanji. Akanji, just inside his own half of the field, he slips the ball to Gundogan. Gundogan to Kovacic. Gundogan again. Akanji goes to Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz plays the ball down the right-hand side to Savinho. He's on his way now. Savinho, he cuts inside away from Martinelli. Savinho, long ball over to Jeremy Doku. Jeremy Doku just unable to bring that ball under control, and it goes out for a throw-in. Left Doku with a lot of work to do there, and it's a throw-in for the Arsenal. And, well, get your thoughts in on that goal. As wonderful as a strike as it was, it does look like it was taken from the wrong position. Also, we see that in the Premier League all the time. Should referees clamp down more on that? Let us know your thoughts. I'll read them out as I get them, as and when I can. Throw in for Arsenal, midway inside the Arsenal half of the field. It's going to be taken by Jurrien Timmer, who's going to take this throw in. And just throws that ball down, looking for Bukayo Saka. It's picked up by Kai Havertz, who is fouled. It's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. And the referee, what has he given here? Looked like he'd given a free kick. Has he given a throw-in? Nope, it is a free kick. And here is Partey. Partey tries to find Martinelli, but that was comfortably won by Kyle Walker. And now then, here comes Akanji, but it's a yellow card, a free kick. And the yellow card, I think, has been given against Trossard for that foul. It was let's have a look at this one again. Yes, he's got a hold of Savinio's arm there, and that is indeed a free kick and a yellow card. As here's Doku. Drops the ball back to the halfway line. And Diaz picks the ball up inside the centre circle. And it's picked up here by Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker drops the ball back into the centre circle. Ruben Diaz. Diaz drops the ball down the right-hand side to Savinio. Savinio back to Walker. Walker now just plays the ball looking for Kovacic. Kovacic has a really good ball there to Akanji. Akanji to Doku down the left-hand side. He's got Timmer and Saka in front of him. A quick 1-2 there with Gundogan. And the shot by Doku is not a million miles away. It just... let's have a look at this again. It just flies off towards the left-hand side of the goal. And I just wonder whether that may have taken a deflection. Doku certainly thought it did. It is a corner to Manchester City, and it's going to be taken by Savinio. Down from the corner on the right-hand side with 10 minutes to go till half-time. Savinio swings the ball in. It's headed out by Havertz and headed back down by Kyle Walker. Martinelli just nips in and intercepts it. Gives the ball to Trossard, and Trossard sets off Declan Rice. Rice has got options left and right. And Declan Rice decides to go for the really long ball over to Martinelli, and that came off Kyle Walker and went out of play. That was certainly the hardest ball that Declan Rice could have played, but it was certainly on its way over to Martinelli, but Kyle Walker just got in the way of that, and Arsenal now with Thomas Partey drops the ball back to the goalkeeper. So we'll just look at games with and without Rodri. 4 defeats without Rodri in 11 games. With Rodri, 48 games and no defeats. So that gives you it's a very interesting insight into Rodri and how effective he is for Manchester City. Here's Timmer, plays the ball down the right-hand side, and that's a good challenge there by Josko Gvardiol, and it'll be behind for a Arsenal corner. So, Gvardiol puts it behind for a corner. The rain falling down pretty heavy here in Manchester today. It'll add some extra excitement on the pitch. That ball will be zipping around a bit. Gabriel getting himself into the penalty area. Of course, he got the goal against Spurs in the North London derby last week, so he's going to be looking to make a nuisance of himself again. Martinelli, Partey, Calafiore, Havertz, all in there. And the cross comes in towards the back post and headed by Gabriel again, but this time just wide. And how close was Gabriel this time as well? He just ghosted in really from the 6-yard line, got away from Doku, and it really wasn't far away. And you might have argued that he might have, or perhaps should have done even better. Ederson was way out of position, and the header was over the crossbar, but I wonder whether they would actually give there was hardly anything there. Ederson went down, but I suspect they would have given the free kick for the foul on Ederson, but there really wasn't a lot in it, to be honest. Here's Akanji. Akanji just holds the ball up, and he goes all the way back to Ederson. 1-1. As the clock ticks towards half-time, I suspect there'll be a vast amount of injury time at the end of the first half. I would argue probably about several minutes, but we'll see. And Our fourth official today for this game is Andy Madley, so we'll see what he offers. Excuse me. Here's Bernardo Silva inside the centre circle. Bernardo Silva holds the ball up and plays the ball over there to Manuel Akanji. Akanji drops the ball back to Kovacic. Kovacic across to Kyle Walker. And it's now back with Diaz. Diaz drops the ball there to Akanji again, and he gets the ball back. He's midway inside his own half of the field. Drop forward to Doku. Nipping in there is Thomas Partey, but City maintain possession. And here is Kovacic. Kovacic plays the ball across there to Diaz. This is good work from Manchester City, maintaining possession for long periods of time in this first half. Here's Savinho. Savinho drops the ball back there to Kyle Walker. Walker, it's almost flicked on by Bernardo Silva, but Calafiore read it well and wins that ball back. And he gives it to Gabriel. And now here's Saliba. Saliba plays the ball to Calafiore. Nice one touch there to Partey. Partey on to Trossard. Over to Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka drops the ball back there to Partey again. And here's Saliba, just almost on the halfway line. Partey. And he just drops the ball back to Saliba, across to Gabriel. Gabriel now holds the ball up on the centre line. Gives the ball to Declan Rice. Let's see what options Arsenal can find here. Declan Rice again. Back to Saliba. Rice. Saka. Back to Rice. And all the way back there to Raya as Arsenal being pressed back here. Saliba. Back to the goalkeeper again. And Raya clears it downfield, chested down by Havertz, who somehow manages to keep possession and get the ball across to Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka, the first chance to run at Doku. And the ball is back with Trossard. Trossard launches the ball in the middle. It's headed out by Diaz and hooked away again there by Bernardo Silva. Only back to the halfway line there to Gabriel. Calafiore, the scorer of Arsenal's goal. Here's Martinelli now. Martinelli has got Walker in front of him. Martinelli cuts inside, gives the ball back to Calafiore again, and it's now with with Partey, back to Gabriel. Partey again, Saliba. This is nice play by Arsenal. And it's Gabriel. Plays the ball to Martinelli, back to Gabriel. This is good work. Gabriel, can he get the cross in at the byline? It's all the way across, and a chance for Trossard. And he gets underneath it and puts it over the crossbar. A half chance for the Belgian international there, as the ball was got to the byline, pulled back by Martinelli. Trossard just leaning back when he was making that shot, so he gets underneath it, turns it over the crossbar. But that was a brilliant move by Arsenal. Really good football all round. 3 minutes to go until half time at the Etihad Stadium, a rainy Etihad Stadium. It's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 1. And the ball is cleared downfield by the goalkeeper, Ederson. And Haaland is backing up into Gabriel. But William Saliba wins the ball. And Saliba plays the ball forward, looking for Trossard. And Kyle Walker just gets across and wins that one. And he's fouled that time by Leandro Trossard. And it's going to be a free kick. Trossard has to be careful. He's been booked already. And, well, 1-1. Next football we have for you on the commentary hub is next Sunday at 4 p.m. Manchester United versus Tottenham Hotspur. Me and Russ will be bringing you that one. So the ball is now back to Diaz, who gives it back to the goalkeeper, Ederson, as we approaching the last couple of minutes of this first half. It's still 1-1. The goal by Haaland early on in this game on on 9 minutes was levelled up with a brilliant strike on 22 minutes, albeit controversial, by Ricardo Calafiore. And here is Kovacic now, just over the halfway line for Manchester City. Kovacic plays the ball across there to Walker. Walker gives the ball to Savinho. Back to Walker as City now looking to put a bit of pressure on to see if they can get a late lead to take into half time. Here's Savinho down the right hand side, plays the ball in low. It was definitely looking, I think, for Josko Gvardiol, who's in the middle there. But it was a comfortable save for David Raya. And we have a minute to go until half time, and it might be interesting to see just how long of stoppage time we're going to get at the end of this game. It's cleared downfield by David Raya, and just won there by Kovacic, but only as far as Saliba. Headed on by Partey. Declan Rice tries to knock the ball on to Bukayo Saka. And, oh, that was a fantastic ball. He's got Gvardiol in front of him as Saka pulls the ball back there. And Kai Havertz gets across him, but there's nobody. Well, it was a good challenge, in fact, to put the ball behind for a corner to Arsenal. And Bukayo Saka will go over to take it on that right-hand side. 1-1. And the referee, Michael Oliver, who has a job on his hands today to try to control this game. There has been some feistiness between these two teams in the past. We've seen it a little bit today as well. The corner will be taken. Bukayo Saka is going to outswing it. Or is he? He's actually going to in-swing it. And the cross comes in towards the back post. It's Gabriel! And he's done it again! 2 goals in 2 weeks as Gabriel picks up a header again! And Arsenal take a 2-1 lead! Well, what an outstanding move again. Gabriel just seems to start from the 6-yard line. He goes into the penalty area, he rises above everybody else, and Gabriel makes it 2-1 to Arsenal. And that is a shock lead, ladies and gentlemen, because Arsenal now could go into half time with a 2-1 lead. There is 6 minutes of stoppage time, but you can see the corner coming in, beautifully delivered by Bukayo Saka, and nobody picked up Gabriel there as he ghosted into the 6-yard box and just raised above to get the header into the corner. Ederson complaining about a foul, but there was no foul, and it was a good header, and it's 2-1 to Arsenal. Well, media, radio, jingles and gaming says getting Gabriel unexpectedly just before half-time. Mike Harneman says yes, and yes, it is very unexpected. It is not what would have been in the script for today's game. A 6-minute stoppage time has been announced. Kyle Walker furious because he was tracking Gabriel, but this is something Gabriel is so good at from the set pieces. He starts from around the penalty area towards the edge of the 18-yard box and then just ghosts his way into the 6-yard box, loses his marker, and it was checked by VAR, but there was deemed to be no foul. So it is a goal. Sue Hedges, hi Sue, I hope you're doing well. Yes, welcome. You just tuned in a second, a fantastic score so far. Just to update you, Sue, the goal was scored by Erling Haaland on 9 minutes. Calafiore with a stunning equaliser on 22 minutes. And Gabriel 1 minute into stoppage time, excuse me, at the end of this first half, gives Arsenal a 2-1 lead. And it's picked up here by Manuel Akanji, as City now are going to have to go on the chase to try to get back into this game. Here's Ruben Diaz. Oh, it's a good interception there as well by Thomas Partey. It's back with Calafiore. Calafiore knocks it back to Gabriel, the goal scorer, clears it forward there as far as Trossard, who tried to lay it off for Martinelli, but Martinelli was going the other way. And it's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. And it's now back with Ederson. If the score stays the same, Arsenal will go top of the pile tonight. as it's Kyle Walker plays the ball forward to Savinio, who back there to Bernardo Silva, who tried to launch the ball forward, and that was blocked. Goes out of play for a throw-in, which Kyle Walker will take. This will affect Pep Guardiola's team talk at half-time. It's always the worst to concede a goal right before half-time. And this will not be helping City's cause at all. Here is Saliba, who gives the ball back to David Raya. David Raya clears the ball downfield. And up in the air goes Bukayo Saka, just chasing that one. Manuel Akanji wins it. Akanji holds the ball up well and drops it back to Doku. Doku sends it back to Ederson. Are City going to go for the more direct route? No, they start from the back. It's Akanji again. We've had 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this first half. 2 still to go. Michael Oliver may add an extra minute or 2 just for the celebrations, but we'll wait and see on that. As here is Bernardo Silva, who's just inside his own half of the field. He plays the ball across there to Akanji, who storms over the halfway line. Manuel Akanji is probably going to go to Doku. He does, down the left-hand side. Doku has got Timmer in front of him. Timmer cuts across and defends that very, very well, Jurrien Timmer, and clears the ball away, but only as far as Manuel Akanji again. Akanji gives the ball to Gundogan. Gundogan under pressure, he drops the ball back, and it's picked up by Akanji again. 1 minute to go of the minimum of 6, and it's now back with Kovacic. Kovacic down the right hand side to Doku. Doku plays the ball back. Oh, it's an opportunity for Akanji to get the cross in. He swings it into the penalty area. It's headed out by Calafiore. And given to Savinio from Kyle Walker. Is Savinio fouled there? The referee says no. Savinio furious, but it's going to be cleared away by Martinelli. But it's only as far as the number 8 Kovacic, who seems to have been everywhere since he's come on. And here's Walker. Walker holding the ball up. Gives the ball there to Diaz. Diaz just maybe he's going to lift the ball into the penalty area. Diaz is choosing to hold the ball up. City not in any hurry. Plays the ball forward there, but it escapes from Bernardo Silva and goes behind for a goal kick. And that'll run out the 6 minutes. Media, Radio, Jingles and Gaming says, if the scoreline remains the same at full time, the race for the title will continue. It certainly will, and it will put Arsenal top of the pile tonight. That's the minimum of 6 minutes played. I suspect they will play an extra minute, will they? Is that half time? No, I don't think so. I thought for a second there Pep Guardiola and was heading off, but it doesn't look like it. It's a goal kick to be taken by David Raya. Cleared downfield, headed on by Akanji. Hooked on there by Partey. Arsenal have possession. Oh, it's a giveaway there, but Partey should win that back. And he does, but he's also fouled Savinio, and Thomas Partey will pick up a yellow card for that. Won the ball, but took the player at the same time. That is a yellow card. And free kick for Manchester City. Yellow card for Thomas Partey. Well, with all of Arsenal's injury problems, they really are performing very, very well. The header is on and hooked away there that time from Declan Rice. Headed on again by Manuel Akanji. Saliba heads the ball out again, and here's Leandro Trossard, but it's another foul. And Leandro Trossard has been booked, and Leandro Trossard is off here. Leandro Trossard is off. It's a red card. Leandro Trossard booked for a second time. I'm not quite sure exactly what for, but let's just take a look. It will be a red card, and Mikel Arteta is complaining at the fourth official, Andy Madley, but I don't think he really has any say in this. Let's take a look at this. I would like to see this again, because that is a red card, second yellow for Leandro Trossard, already been booked. He's still on the field. VAR can't get involved in this because it's a second yellow. It's not a straight red. Oh my goodness me. Let's see now. Martinelli is practically begging, but let's have a look. Well, he shouldered into the back of Bernardo Silva. Let's have a look. Well, when you look at it from that angle, it doesn't look very pretty, does it? Let's take a look again. He has to be careful in these situations. I think it's harsh. I think he's gone into the back of him as a shoulder. To me, that's harsh. But you know, you have to wonder, don't you? You see these kind of challenges all the time, and you don't see yellow card. Russ thinks it might be for kicking the ball away. Not this again. Okay, so it's for kicking the ball away. So he's kicked the ball away, so that's the yellow card, and of course you can't do that. Declan Rice found that out. He's already been booked. Why did he do that? That's a silly thing to do from Leandro Trossard's point of view. I didn't see him kick the ball away, but obviously he has. But I didn't actually see that at first. But yeah, that's a poor decision from Leandro Trossard. If that is the way of things, the free kick is taken anyway. It's headed in, and they've let City now back into this game, and it is finally half time after 9 minutes of stoppage time. The goal came on 8 minutes. On 9 minutes from Erling Haaland, who gave City a 1-goal lead. Ricardo Calafiori answering with a beautiful strike on 22 minutes, and then Gabriel's header on 1 minute of stoppage time gave Arsenal the 2-1 lead. But a second bookable offence for Leandro Trossard has got him sent off, and Arsenal down to 10 men for kicking the ball away. And Arsenal lead at half time, but are down to 10 men. Russ, back to you.
Yes, Paul, and just before you do go, I just would like to ask you one question before I take over for half time. Going into the half time break, then Arsenal leading 2-1. City did take the lead, but Arsenal fed them back. Arsenal now down to 10 men after Trossard got a second yellow for kicking the ball away. Question I'm going to put to you then, Paul, is out of the two managers, which one would be the happier of the two going into the half time break?
Well, I think Mikel Arteta will be the happier. In terms of anything else, such as the sending off, this will of course allow City time to attack the Arsenal defence. They'll keep possession. They'll move the ball around. They'll have Arsenal chasing shadows in the second half, because that's what City do even when it's 11 versus 11. They have other teams chasing shadows. So that's what they'll probably do in the second half. Arsenal have to keep the defence resilient. But I think, in answer to your question, I think Mikel Arteta will still be the happier. It's 2-1 away at Manchester City.
Thank you very much. Then Paul will let you go off and take a break now, and Paul will be back for us in around about 15 minutes' time for the start of the second half as Manchester City take on Arsenal in the Premier League. Let me just recap the earliest scores from today. Earliest score from today in the Premier League: Brighton of Albion 2, Nottingham Forest 2. Nottingham Forest finished the game with 10 men. Morgan Gibbs-White showing a straight red card, a second yellow card in that fact, and was sent off, which also sparked a bit of controversy on the bench, with Nuno Espirito Santo, the Nottingham Forest boss, and Fabian Ertzl, Brighton boss, also receiving a red card apiece after getting into the face of the fourth official down at the Amex Stadium. Refereeing that game was Rob Jones this afternoon. Question to you for answer to you then, Sue. How come there's so much stoppage time these days? Is because, Sue, there's why there was so much stoppage time today. Just after kick-off, Kai Havertz ran into Rodri and he went down injured early on, so there's a brief stoppage in play for around about 90 seconds or so, and then Rodri went down again in the game and was substituted on 21 minutes. So he was down twice, had to receive treatment twice, so they had to take that into consideration. Plus the goal celebrations as well. So I can see, so that's why we have so many minutes of stoppage time. Then chasing shadow, And Sue says, Chasing Shadows, isn't that a song by Smokey? I'm not sure, so I'll have to double check and let you know on that one. I'm not on my music by Smokey or them kind of eras because I'm only in my early 30s. As I say, I'm not that old. I'm not old enough to know them. That band there. Mike says, Struppy from Trossor, but the referee needs to be consistent. Should have moved the City man earlier in the half. I think it was Doku for doing the same. And yes, Mike, there was in the game where Declan Rice got sent off. There was a problem in that game as well. Yao Pedro should have been both for kicking the ball away in the first half. He wasn't, and then Declan Rice later on in the game got both for kicking the ball away and got sent off. So it's, like I said, Mike, very stupid from Trossard when he's already in the referee's notebook. He already knows he's in the referee's notebook, and he goes and kicks the ball away, which is a stupid decision there. In that one, let me bring you up to date with the other scores of matches that have taken place so far today in the Championship. Preston North End 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Both teams finished the game with 10 men in that one. Sam Greenwood sent off for a foul in the first half. Owen Beck sent off controversially in the second half. For me, the foul by Owen Beck was only a yellow card worthy challenge. He was then bit in the back of his neck by Osmarcic, who only received a yellow card for that one. And Owen Beck saw a red for his stand, which was only a yellow card. I would have thought it would have been a card of the yellow for the on-loan Liverpool defender for Owen Beck and a red for Osmarcic. In that game, we finished 0-0 at Deepdale in the Championship this afternoon. In the Premier League 2, which is the Under-21s League, Everton 4, Sunderland 3 in that game there today. In the Women's Super League this afternoon, we've already seen City and Arsenal face off today. This was in the Women's Super League, and it was Arsenal 2, Manchester City 2 in that game. Liverpool 1, Leicester City 1, and it's Tottenham Hotspur 4, Crystal Palace 0 in the Women's Super League. In the Women's Championship, Charlton Athletic 2, Durham 1, Birmingham City 4, Portsmouth 0, London City Lionesses 2, Bristol City 1, Newcastle United 2, Sheffield United 0, Southampton 0, Blackburn Rovers 1 in the Women's Championship. In the Women's Champions League, Volska Polatev from Ukraine 0, Celtic 1. So the Everton game was the youngsters, the under-21s, their first team this weekend. Got a 1-1 draw at Leicester yesterday. In the French Ligue 1, they finished Monaco 3, Le Havre 1. Latest scores then: Angers 1, Nantes 1, Brest 1, Toulouse 0, Montpellier 2, Auxerre 2. Olympique Lyonnais against Marseille is a 7:45 kickoff in French Ligue 1. In the German Bundesliga, today it finished Bayer Leverkusen 4, Wolfsberger 3, and it's currently Stuttgart 2, Borussia Dortmund 0 in that game. The second half just underway in that one. St. Pauli against RB Leipzig is at 6:30 this evening in the German Bundesliga. Italian Serie A, we finished Fiorentina 2, Lazio 1, Monza 1, Bologna 2. The latest score after 34 minutes is AS Roma 1, Udinese 0, and Inter take on AC in the Milan derby tonight, 7:45 p.m. UK kickoff there. In the Scottish League Cup, Celtic have run out 5-2 winners against Falkirk this afternoon. Adam Eder, formerly of Norwich City, scoring 2 of the goals in that one for Celtic this afternoon. There in La Liga, Getafe 1, Leganés 1, Athletic Club 3, Celta Vigo 1, and finally Scottish Villarreal 0, Barcelona 0 in that game this afternoon. There, Paul is back with us, and we'll get ready to hand back over to Paul in just a moment or so. Just some news which came out earlier on today in the Championship, and Cardiff City announced earlier today that they had sacked manager Earl Bullitt after only 1 point all season. They have only scored 1 goal all season as well, and have now conceded 13 goals in the Championship. Cardiff City are now managerless in that one. Earl Bullitt was sacked this lunchtime. That came after they lost 2-0 at the Cardiff City Stadium to Leeds United in the Sky Bet Championship. Yesterday, in a statement on the official Cardiff website, he read, Cardiff City Football Club can confirm first team manager Earl Bullitt has been relieved of his duties and will leave the club with immediate effect. The board of directors would like to wish to thank Earl for all his hard work and wish him well for the future. First team coach Nicholas Caredes will also depart and leaves the club's best wishes. Further backroom staff confirmation will follow in due course. Omar Riza will take charge of the first team on an interim basis, while the club look to recruit a new permanent first team manager. So that's Cardiff City without managing now after they lost yesterday 2-0 to Leeds United in the Sky Bet Championship this afternoon. Yesterday afternoon kicked off at 3 p.m. there. And Sue says she sees, thanks for clearing it up, and maybe Everton should put more of the youngsters in their first team. Yes, potentially so, but it all depends on manager Sean Dyche on whether he wants to bring those youngsters into the first team fold. In the Premier League yesterday, so which involved the Everton's first team. This was the score so far in the weekend in the Premier League. West Ham United 0, Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Fulham 3, Newcastle United 1, Leicester City 1, Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0, nearly today as I mentioned a few moments ago, Brighton Hove Albion 2, Nottingham Forest 2. There, and we've pulled back and we're almost ready for the second half to start very, very shortly. Just waiting for the teams to emerge from the tunnel for the start of the second half. And Paul, just a quick question to you ahead of this second half. How do you think Arsenal will now shape up the team? How do you think Mikel Arteta will now shape up the team with the red card for Leandro Trossard going into the second half?
Well, my concern is that if they sit back and invite pressure, City will eventually score. That's what happens with them. It's a very difficult situation because they also can't press them too much with a disadvantage of one man. So I think it's going to be a challenging effect. I can see Mikel Arteta perhaps bringing on another defender and sacrificing. Let's see. So Leandro Trossard's off. They may want to sacrifice a midfielder, but we'll see. I can only imagine that you may want to bring on Ben White, maybe move Calafiori into centre-back role. That could be an option. The only other options in terms of defenders is Jakub Kivior and Maldini Kakuri, the 18-year-old. So it's I think Leandro Trossard has put Mikel Arteta in a very, very tough position here.
Absolutely, Paul. Absolutely. And we've just seen the red card decision again on the monitors here, and we can see there was a red card, definitely a red card. As Leandro Trossard, Paul, was to clear the ball after the free kick had been given. He was going straight to Kyle Walker to get the ball, and he was rightly, in my opinion, sent off for kicking the ball away. One of those ways delaying the restart of the game. And I saw an interesting point which was made on social media by former Premier League referee Keith Hackett, which is regarding Michael Oliver and some of his decision making in this one, which is led to the incident led to Arsenal's first goal, and I'll quickly tell you about this. Now is when he is a free kick and he calls Kyle Walker towards him, Paul, to have a word with him, and he says he made a basic refereeing error. And we call the player towards him, which was, as I just mentioned there, Kyle Walker. Oliver must ensure the ball is correctly placed and must allow that player who is called over time to get back into his position. And Michael Oliver didn't do either of those, and that's why City was so annoyed after Arsenal's equaliser. Not because he was taken from the wrong place like Luke thought he might have been, it was because Walker had been spoken to and wasn't allowed to get back, and the ball wasn't quite positioned correctly as well. He was still not taken from the right place, but it was because Walker hadn't been allowed to get back in position before the free kick was taken. And I'm just noticing on the monitors now, Paul, Ben White will be coming on for Arsenal at half time, and it's interesting to see who he takes off out of this side to reshape things up. I'll let you decide, let you tell everybody who's that going to be in a moment, as I now I'm going to hand back over for the start of the second half. Let's see who Ben White has come on for. Let's hand you over to match commentator for the second half. It's Paul James.
Thank you, Russ. So, yes, Ben White readying himself to come on now. We're just going to see who it is. It is Bukayo Saka, who is the sacrificial lamb here for Ben White. I don't know whether City are going to make any changes themselves, but the referee, Michael Oliver, is having a chat with Ben White. I'm not sure exactly what they are discussing there, but he's now coming on, Ben White, so he'll probably slip into the right back role. I suspect Timmer will go over back to left back, and Calafiore will form a three-man centre back. And we'll see how that plays itself out in the second half. I can't see any changes from the Manchester City lineup, but they're not all out yet. There's actually only about 8 or 9 of them that are actually out onto the field. I don't see where the rest of them are. So we're just waiting for the other Manchester City players to take their positions, and then we can get the second half underway. Okay, so yes, they are out now. All right, so the second half is about to get underway. It's going to be Arsenal to get us underway. For the second half, they'll be attacking the goal to our right in the second half as Ederson gets the ball downfield there. So I'll just run through the lineups for you as they are now. Ederson in goal for City, Gvardiol, Akanji, Diaz, Walker, Gundogan. Of course, Kovacic has been brought on for the injured Rodri. Doku, Silva, Savinho and Haaland. For Arsenal, well, it's Raya, Calafiore, Gabriel, Saliba, Timmer, and of course Ben White now. And Martinelli, Rice, Partey, Havertz, with Trossard being sent off at the end of the first half. So it is City coming forward now with Akanji. It's played the ball down the right-hand side. And the ball is played through now. And looking there for the chasing Bernardo Silva. But Bernardo Silva not quick enough off of the mark there as David Raya gets over to pick up the ball. And you can see Pep Guardiola just dishing out instructions there as the start of this second half gets underway. And what sort of attacking prowess will Manchester City throw at Arsenal? We'll just see how that is all played out, as Arsenal will probably leave Havertz now up front on his own. Trossard, Martinelli will probably drop back into midfield. But let's see how all this plays out. It's Kovacic now over the halfway line. And he gives the ball across there to Walker. Walker midway inside the Arsenal half to Kovacic. Diaz. Diaz is about 40 yards out, lays the ball over to the right-hand side, and it's picked up by Savinho. Savinho drops it back there to Walker. Quick 1-2 there with Kovacic. It's now with Savinho. Savinho trying to get to the byline. He's under pressure from Calafiori. It's back to Walker. Walker gets across into Haaland. And the first shot fired at Arsenal's goal in anger in the second half there is Erling Haaland's header. And it's a comfortable save for David Raya as he falls on the ball. And he's just going to clear the ball downfield now is David Raya. And it just goes all the way through to Manuel Akanji, who just leaves it alone for Ruben Diaz. Diaz now picks up the ball midway inside his own half. Diaz to Kovacic, storming over the halfway line now, and Manchester City coming forward again. Kovacic gives the ball to Walker. Walker to Savinho down the right-hand side. Overlapping now is Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, it's pulled back to Kovacic on the edge of the area, who fires the ball over the crossbar. And City looking like they are going to set their stall out in the Arsenal half of the field in this second half. But Kovacic unable to keep that ball down, and it's going to be a goal kick. And David Raya places the ball, and David Raya will have to be careful as well, because any sign of time wasting, Michael Oliver is going to jump all over that. He clears the ball downfield there, and up in the air there, flicked on by Declan Rice, and it's Gvardiol who's under pressure from Jurrien Timmer, and in fact it's a free kick to Manchester City for the foul on Gvardiol by Timmer, and City are breaking forward now over the halfway line, and it's Walker gives the ball there to Kovacic, to Akanji. Akanji's got a Doku down the left. He gives the ball back to Kovacic. It's back to Walker. Good ball to Savinho. Savinho, corner of the penalty area, left-hand side. Back to Walker. Savinho pulls it back there to Kovacic and Akanji. And now the ball is with Diaz. Diaz to Walker. It's a really, really good ball across back to Diaz again. Diaz, Walker, and again back to Diaz. Gives the ball across to the left-hand side now to Jeremy Doku, trying to just get away from Gabriel. He goes to the corner of the penalty area and once again plays it back to Kovacic. Kovacic back to Walker. Oh, good interception that time. And now Kai Havertz is coming away with the ball. He's surrounded by three Manchester City players. He tries to get through both of them. And is that going to be a free kick? The referee says no. Havertz looks at the assistant, but nothing is forthcoming. Here's Gundogan now for Manchester City. He does a back heel to Gvardiol. Gvardiol drops the ball there back to Walker. It's a good ball over to the right-hand side to Silva. Here's Savinho now for Manchester City. Savinho in the penalty area. Good challenge by Calafiori, but Savinho now holds onto the ball and goes down. The referee initially said no, but the assistant on the far side gave the free kick, and Michael Oliver changed his mind and gave the free kick. So it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City. It's level with the Arsenal 6-yard box down the right-hand side, and it was a foul. It was a late challenge. Michael Oliver perhaps didn't initially see it, but the assistant on that right-hand side certainly did. And it's going to be a free kick. Bernardo Silva and Ilkay Gundogan are both standing over this as Manchester City looking to get back into this game. Bernardo Silva, City are going to have to Arsenal are going to have to defend very, very well here, as this free kick is from a dangerous position. Bernardo Silva whips it in. Oh, it goes over everybody's head and goes behind for a goal kick. And Bernardo Silva's wondering why nobody gambled on that, and it just went over everybody's head and went wide, and Arsenal can breathe again as Mikel Arteta just having discussions with his assistant. Of course, Arsenal did get the victory over Manchester City last year. Well, it still didn't help them in terms of winning the league. City still went on to win the league title as David Raya clears the ball downfield. It's headed on by Manuel Akanji. The ball is knocked forward by Thomas Partey, and trying to nip in there was, I'm just not quite sure who that was, but I think it might have been Kai Havertz. But City coming forward again, and now here's Walker. It's got Savinho over left and right. Kovacic, Akanji just gives the ball back there to Walker. Walker has got Savinho alongside him. He gives the ball to Kovacic instead. Back to Walker. Arsenal lining up with a wall in defence right across the 18-yard box. And here's Diaz. Diaz just looking for options to try to find a way through. It's Walker again to Savinho. Corner of the penalty area, right-hand side. Savinho pulled back to Diaz. Is Diaz going to try having a shot from here? Oh, he does, and it's just wide. It really wasn't very far away from Ruben Diaz. It was worth the effort. At the time, certainly they were not able to get through that Arsenal defence. But yes, it's wide and into those Manchester City fans behind that goal. And Arsenal still lead by 2-1. We've had 8 minutes gone in the second half. It's David Raya with the goal kick, right-footed, downfield. And heads go up there. Kai Havertz tries to bring that down. Jurrien Timmer also cutting across. Declan Rice as well, but Manuel Akanji gets the ball forward. And, well, here comes Ilkay Gundogan. Cuts inside to Kyle Walker. He tries to find Jeremy Doku, but cutting across excellently, doing the defending there is Jurrien Timmer. And Arsenal now continuing to defend for their lives. Jeremy Doku. Here's Ruben Diaz across to Kovacic. Kovacic to Kyle Walker. Walker to Savinho down the right-hand side. Savinho cuts inside to the penalty area to Kovacic. Oh, Kovacic tried to play the ball through, but that was really well read by Declan Rice. And Arsenal now can come away. It's cleared downfield that time by Ben White. And it goes out of play for a throw-in almost on the halfway line. It's taken quickly, and City coming forward again with Gvardiol. Gvardiol gives the ball to Kovacic. Kovacic across there to Walker. To Savinho. Savinho back to Diaz again. He's already had one shot. He may fancy another. He's thinking about it. Gives the ball to Gundogan. Gundogan holds the ball up. And Savinho who's going to strike, and that comes off Gabriel, and it falls onto the head of Gvardiol, who heads it back to Manuel Akanji, and here's Doku. Doku back to Akanji. It's all City at the start of this second half. Here's Ruben Diaz, and it's Gundogan. Gundogan plays the ball through here to Bernardo Silva, and it's finally just cleared away, or at least attempted to be cleared away that time by Gabriel Martinelli. And Martinelli just shields the ball out of play, thinking it's a throw into Arsenal. It's not. It's a throw into City, and he's livid. But City have taken the throw in quickly, and here is Kovacic. Kovacic back to Gundogan. Gundogan, corner of the penalty area. And here is, just seeing that Bernardo Silva. He gives the ball to Akanji. Akanji back to Walker. To Kovacic. Kovacic to Akanji. As Arsenal camping out on the edge of the... City camping out on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area. Doku tries to get the cross in. It's a good challenge by Kai Havertz, and it's going to be a corner to Manchester City. And it's taken quickly by Doku. And here's Gundogan. Gundogan lifts the ball in. Oh, it's headed out there by Gabriel. Comes back to Akanji with the shot, but it takes a deflection, and it's going to be another corner. And, well... the corner now, this time going to be taken by Ilkay Gundogan down that left-hand side. And we've had 12 minutes gone in this second half, and it's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. And the corner is taken quickly, and here's Jeremy Doku. Is he going to swing one in here? Oh, that's a really good block by Kai Havertz again. Or rather Martinelli, I should say. The ball is played down the right-hand side here, and here's Bernardo Silva. Corner of the penalty area, back to Kovacic. And here's Walker. Walker may strike one here. Oh, good save by Raya. He was only able to parry it, and it was hooked away there by Gabriel, and Arsenal defending here as a really good effort that time by Kyle Walker. Good save, though, by David Raya. And here's Walker again. Kyle Walker in a very advanced position. Kovacic holds the ball up. Back to Walker. And Kovacic. And now Akanji. And under pressure there a little bit was... yes, Ruben Diaz just having to take the ball back towards his own half. Diaz then plays the ball back to Walker. Walker back to Diaz. He's about 35 yards out, is Diaz. Arsenal just camping out on the edge of the penalty area. You might argue that they've parked the bus. Here is Doku now for City. Struggling to find a way through. It's Akanji. And Doku just lays it off for Kovacic. Is Kovacic going to have a strike? No. Walker over to Savinho. Savinho swings in looking for Haaland. Gabriel just trying to block off Haaland there. And he puts it behind for a corner to block off Haaland. The official's flag signalling a corner there. The corner is taken very, very quickly. And here's Walker. It's swung into the back post. Haaland! Great save! Silva, but he blazes it over the crossbar. Oh, what a great save by David Raya, turning the ball away from Haaland, from Haaland's header on the back post. And this really was a superb save. It was almost Gordon Banks-esque, as that ball was headed down by Erling Haaland, and just getting across to make the save was David Raya, and the rebound fell to Bernardo Silva, and he blazed the ball over the crossbar. But what a fantastic save that was. Well, David Raya has been paying back his transfer fee in all sorts of ways in the last few days. He made an amazing penalty save, followed by a rebound save against against Atalanta in the Champions League game on Thursday. Another mighty save there by the Spanish international. As now coming forward is Savinho for Manchester City, as once again the pressure being piled on by the citizens. Kyle Walker gives the ball back to Savinho. Savinho will cut into the penalty area. It's pulled back to Kovacic, and all the way back to Diaz. Diaz to Walker. Walker back to Kovacic. And back to Diaz again. And down here to Bernardo Silva. He's got Martinelli in front of him as Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva cutting back, tries to swing the cross in. It's headed down well by Calafiori. And Arsenal can maybe try clearing it away, but Kyle Walker wins that back. Media radio jingles in the game. He says, can't agree anymore, Paul. That was a super save from Ray. It was indeed. As here's Kovacic. He gives the ball there to Sabinho. It's now back with Gundogan. Gundogan across to Manuel Akanji. City continue to pile on the pressure. Jeremy Doku down the left-hand side. Drops the ball back to Akanji. It's back with Kovacic. All the way back to Walker with a strike. It takes a deflection and goes behind. And it's going to be another corner to Manchester City, as Arsenal really are defending for their lives in the second half as we've hit the hour mark. It's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2. Corner to be taken by Ilkay Gundogan. And Gundogan is just no quick corner taken this time. Akanji is in there. Of course, Erling Haaland is in there. Where else would he be? It is taken short, though, with Doku lifted in by Gundogan. It's just headed up into the air. Thomas Partey has the ball there. Oh, it breaks it! Another super save! And this time a shot from, I think it was Gavardio that time. As we just take a look at this again, it was headed up into the air, chested down, and it just fell to Gavardio. And another super save, and a bit of perhaps deserved luck for David Raya there as the ball loops into the air and just falls kindly into his arms. So it's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2, as David Raya pulling out the stops in the second half as well as his defence in front of him. Well, it's Kyle Walker again. midway inside the Arsenal half of the field. He lays it off to Kovacic. And back to Walker. Walker was thinking about the shot. Instead, he laid it off to Savinho. Savinho holds the ball up. Drop back to Walker. Back to Savinho. Savinho across there to Diaz. Swung back in again. Headed up into the air there by William Saliba. Oh, Calafiori lets it bounce. I'm not sure how much of a good idea that was. Finally, he lifts it to Declan Rice, and Declan Rice gets the ball away and out of play. It's going to be a throw-in to Manchester City. And it's taken quickly. Here is Gundogan. Gundogan gets the ball across to Akanji. Manuel Akanji holds the ball up. Back to Diaz. And here's Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker thinks about the shot but holds off. Diaz. Walker again. Cross to Savinho. Savinho. He cuts inside and pulled back again to Diaz. Diaz lifts the ball into the penalty area. Headed out by Saliba. Good work by him. This is going to be a real test of Arsenal's defence that has been so good. Here is Doku. Doku pulled back to the edge of the area to Akanji. Akanji tried to slip the ball through, but that was very well read that time by Ben White. And now it's cleared away. And chasing this one is Martinelli, but Declan Rice just gets across. Not Declan Rice, sorry. Kyle Walker just gets across and makes a challenge. And Arsenal now moving forward. And it's Savinho getting into the penalty area. Tries to get the cross in, but that is a block by Calafiori. And it goes behind for a corner. And, well, what a game we're seeing here. Lots of attacking flair by Manchester City. Arsenal defending so resolutely. Just throwing everything and blocking the passing lanes and the shooting lanes. Will Manchester City find a way through? Stay tuned to find out. Kai Havertz goes over and has a chat with Mikel Arteta. And David Raya is currently down, and that's not a good sign. We're just waiting to see. I'm sure the Manchester City fans aren't being very sympathetic over this. But David Raya is still down. Michael Oliver's going over to kind of figure out what the problem is. And he's allowed the medical team to go on to look at David Raya. There's going to be a yellow card waved in someone's face here at one of the substitutes. I'm not quite sure who that was. But it was waved at one of the substitutes. And he's just explaining to Kyle Walker what's gone on. I'm just trying to see who the substitute was that got booked. It was Miles Lewis Skelly who has been booked. As Arsenal just taking this time to have a little bit of a team talk. So let's just take a moment to all catch our breath as Manchester City, well, they're also having a little discussion. It's like a mini timeout and a tactical session here for both sides to kind of try something different. And finally, the two teams break away as David Raya will be helped to his feet. And the game can get back underway. As Michael Oliver is currently just... he's not blown his whistle yet, and the players aren't really all back in position either at the moment. Finally, we're going to get this game back underway. David Raya is going to launch the ball downfield. Fortunately for Arsenal, he's okay. The very last thing they need is him going out. It's cleared downfield, and it's just won comfortably by Gvardiol. Gvardiol lifts the ball forward looking for Erling Haaland, and Gabriel takes no chances, puts his foot through that, and sends the ball out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal, just over the halfway line in Manchester City's half, down the Manchester City right. And here is Kyle Walker. Walker lays the ball off to Kovacic. Kovacic again back to Walker. He's almost operating like a quarterback right now. Kyle Walker tries to play the ball through. It's flicked on by Haaland, but that's cleared away again by Gabriel, who puts his foot through it. It goes all the way, almost into the corner and Ederson having to come out and get that ball and win it. And he plays the ball forward to Ruben Diaz, as all 10 players, outfield players in the Manchester City team are in the Arsenal half at the moment. And here's Doku cutting inside. Jeremy Doku. Oh, is he brought down there? And the referee said no. And play goes on. And it's won back there by Gvardiol as a clearance was made. But I just wonder whether there was a foul on Doku. No appeals anyway. And here is Kovacic. Kovacic hands the ball back to Walker. It's a good ball there to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva plays the ball across to Manuel Akanji. Akanji to Doku again. Doku skips towards the middle again. He's looking for options. He finds Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker back to Doku. Doku maybe gets a shot away here, or it's blocked. Cleared away by Kai Havertz. Back to the halfway line, and once again Ederson storming out of his goal. And he gives the ball to Ruben Diaz. Diaz across to Gundogan. Gundogan to Savinho. Savinho plays the ball across there to Kovacic. Back to Savinho. Savinho. And across there to Akanji. Akanji 30 yards out. Gives the ball to Doku. Doku. Looking for options left and right. He plays the ball across here to Diaz and then to Walker. Back to Diaz. Diaz will probably go across there to Doku again. He does. Doku now down the left. Played across to Akanji. Is Akanji going to have a shot on goal? He does. It's a good block by Saliba, and it's headed on there that time by Kai Havertz, but no distance on it, and it's with Jeremy Doku. Doku cuts inside from the left. Across to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker thinking about the shot. Getting the tackle in was Declan Rice, but only as far as Savinho. And Savinho with a strike, and it's just over the crossbar. And, well, we're going to see a substitution now. We're going to see Phil Foden coming on for Jeremy Doku. And, of course, this will add a little bit more extra pace to Manchester, fresh legs and extra pace to the Manchester City attack. As Jeremy Doku comes on, and we have 21 minutes left in this game as time ticking down, and it's going to be a goal kick for Arsenal, which David Raya clears downfield, and it just goes over everybody's head, and it's a free kick to Arsenal as Kai Havertz is alleged to have been fouled by Mateo Kovacic. Let's have a look at this again. Ruben Diaz doesn't think so. We'll just see what's happened here. It's actually with Ruben Diaz, not Kovacic. Looks like his arm just got in the face of Kai Havertz, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. Midway inside the City half of the field. I don't suspect they'll venture too many men forward, but we'll see. 2-1. Arsenal have 20 minutes to hold on to this if they want to claim all 3 points and move to the top of the Premier League table this evening. The free kick is to be taken by Declan Rice. And it's going to be launched towards the penalty area. Declan Rice just holding on. It's a high line by Manchester City, well outside the 18-yard box. It's launched in and headed down here to Calafiore, who just not able to control it. And Arsenal still win possession back, though, with Timmer. And it's dropped back there to Ben White. Ben White goes long over to the left-hand side, looking for Martinelli. Martinelli picks it up under pressure from Kyle Walker, and Walker wins the ball. And now Walker breaking away now for Manchester City, as they will break forwards in numbers. Manchester City across to Phil Foden. And here is Kovacic. Kovacic, Arsenal desperately trying to get back into position. Here's Manuel Akanji. Down the left there to the number 26, Savinho, as he switched over to the left-hand side with Phil Foden on the right. And here's Diaz. Diaz holds the ball up. Gives the ball to Gundogan. Gundogan to Kovacic. Back to Gundogan again. Gundogan may fancy a shot here. Instead, he goes over to Foden. To Bernardo Silva. Cuts inside. And here is Kovacic. Kovacic back to the number 25 Akanji. Here's Foden. He lays the ball off. And it's with Manuel Akanji. With Ruben Diaz. It takes a deflection and bounces kindly to David Raya, who threw himself to the right-hand side. Oh, on another day, that might have deflected and gone the other way. But David Raya getting a little bit of luck there. And it just deflects off two players, one being Calafiore, the other one being Foden. And it just bounces very, very kindly for David Raya as Gabriel is having words with the official. Looks like we are going to see another Arsenal substitute. I'm just trying. It looks like that's Jakub Kivior, who may be coming on for Arsenal. Gabriel is still having words with the official. And, we'll just see exactly what happens here. Declan Rice also speaking to the Arsenal manager, Mikel Arteta. Just trying to see who it is. I think it is Kivior that's coming on. We'll just see now the change is going to take place. I'm just wondering who it might be. I think it may be Ricardo Calafiore that's actually coming off. Calafiore is limping. Well, he's moving gingerly. Let's see who is coming off. It may be Timmer. It's definitely Kivior, but I'm just not sure who it is who is making where. We're going to see. I think it may be Calafiore because he's gone off the other way. Yes, it is Calafiore. So he has gone off. Ricardo Calafiore, the goal scorer for Arsenal, and coming on is Jakub Kivior, as it's back with David Raya now, and he's picked up the ball. Media, radio, jingles and gaming said David Raya has done some wonderful goalkeeping for Arsenal so far. Well, definitely made some vital saves tonight, and obviously in the in the Atalanta game as well. It's headed on here by Kai Havertz, looking for Declan Rice. Declan Rice putting Gvardiol under pressure along with Timmer. Timmer just tries to skips away from Gvardiol, and he's still got it as Timmer tries to play the ball across, but nobody gambling up there. Looking for the run from Havertz, perhaps it wasn't there. And now Manchester City can come forward with Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker across to Kovacic. Kovacic finds Gvardiol. Gvardiol knocks the ball back to the number 25, Manuel Akanji. Akanji across here to Kyle Walker. Over to Bernardo Silva. So it appears Bernardo Silva has gone out onto the right. Phil Foden has moved into the middle. And it's now with Diaz again. Diaz thought about the shot, but then decided to give the ball to Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker back to Phil Foden. Foden back to Diaz. Diaz, Foden again. Back to Walker. Foden. Diaz. Diaz holds the ball up. And it's Bernardo Silva. Across to Kovacic. Kovacic may fancy a strike. Oh, it was a good block by Havertz. It's still 2-1. We're inside 15 to go. And it looks like City are going to be making another substitution very shortly. Here is Manuel Akanji. Akanji across there to Walker. Walker tries a shot. It's blocked by Rice. And over on the far side is Bernardo Silva, but Martinelli hooks the ball away and out of play. It's going to be a throw into Manchester City. It's taken quickly. And it's now with Kovacic. He's about 30 yards out. He's going to have a strike. No, he gives it to Akanji. Akanji over down this left-hand side to Savinho. Savinho is inside the penalty area. Drop back to Akanji. Plays the ball across and back to Ruben Diaz. Diaz. And now Walker. Walker, good ball there to Silva. Silva cuts inside. Oh, it's a good ball to the edge of the area there to Kovacic. And finally the shot coming in from Diaz, but it's low and comfortable for David Raya. And the substitute is going to be John Stones, who's coming on for Manchester City. We're going to take a look and see who is going to be the substitute. It's possibly going to be Diaz. Is it Diaz? Well, they're not going to make the substitute yet, but it's cleared downfield. And chasing this one is Kai Havertz. Havertz heads the ball down looking for Martinelli, but Manchester City win the ball back. and it's with Akanji, who gives the ball to Gvardiol. Gvardiol clears the ball there to Foden. Foden just steps away there from Declan Rice and gives the ball to Akanji. Akanji plays the ball forward, and here now is Ruben Diaz storming forward. He's had an excellent game tonight as Ruben Diaz. Diaz to Gundogan, back to Walker. Walker plays the ball back to Gundogan and played in there to Erling Haaland, who tries to get a shot away, but it's blocked. Somehow Arsenal just holding their own here. Declan Rice tries to clear the ball away from Bernardo Silva, gets it past the halfway line. Out comes Ederson again, almost to the halfway line to try to keep the pressure on Arsenal. Here's Ruben Diaz. Diaz is about 35 yards out. Gundogan tries to play the ball through to Haaland, gets it back. Manuel Akanji now, looking for options left and right. It's now back to Diaz, thinks about the shot, gives the ball to Phil Foden. Foden scuttles into the penalty area and tries to get a shot away, but it's over the crossbar, and it's going to be a goal kick. It's going to be a double substitution for Manchester City. It's going to be Jack Grealish and John Stones coming on, and coming off is Kyle Walker, which is an interesting choice, and also Savinio. So they're adding some extra pace down the flanks here to try to put some pressure on that tired Arsenal defence. Savinio and Walker are off. Stones and Grealish are on. Well, it's going to be a goal kick as we've got 12 minutes to go in this game. It's Manchester City 1, Arsenal 2 at the Etihad Stadium. 10 men Arsenal holding on. The ball is flicked on that time by Martinelli, but it goes all the way through to the Manchester City goalkeeper, Ederson. And now Gvardiol coming forward. Jack Grealish could be the difference maker in this game if they can bring him into it. Here is Gundogan to Akanji. Good ball there to Grealish. Back to Manuel Akanji. Akanji pulls it back to Kovacic with the strike, and it's over the crossbar. As right now Manchester City are being forced to take long range efforts as this Arsenal defence is really proving itself to be a tough nut to crack, and we've said it so many times over the last few years of just how steady Arsenal's defence is. The second half shots, there's only been 6 inside the box, 14 outside the box. It's a testament to the defensive line, alignment that Arsenal set up in this second half. David Raya clears the ball downfield. Flicked on there by Kai Havertz. Chasing it is Martinelli, but the ball is played back to the goalkeeper from Ruben Diaz. And now here's Manuel Akanji. Akanji coming forward to Bernardo Silva down the right-hand side. Back to Manuel Akanji. It's a very direct approach by City now. It's swung in, headed out by Thomas Partey. Back to Akanji, though, who's almost just over the centre circle now. Akanji. Back to Gvardiol. There's 10 minutes left here. And it's back to Akanji. Gundogan. Back to Kovacic. Kovacic to Gvardiol. And back to Kovacic again. And it's just won there by Gundogan. Gives it back to Akanji and Kovacic. Across there to Gvardiol, to Foden. Just lays it back off to Gvardiol. And here's Diaz thinking about the shot, but he plays it through to Kovacic instead. But that's won back by Arsenal, and Thomas Partey now under pressure and finally cleared away there by, I'm not quite sure who that was. I think it was Ben White. As here's Martinelli. Drops the ball back to Thomas Partey. And the ball is played forward by Kivia. And it's dropped back now and played forward again, this time by Gabriel. And into Manchester City's half. City have the ball back with Gundogan. It's now with Diaz. Pressure being piled on again. John Stones, in fact, that time. And it's back with Kovacic. He's about 30 yards out, Kovacic. Back to Gvardiol. 9 minutes to go in this one. Here is Gundogan. Akanji. Silva swings the ball in, but David Raya just comes out and plucks that out of the air and falls on it. And that latest move by Manchester City breaks down, much to a frustrated look on his face of Pep Guardiola. And Arsenal, well, they have defended brilliantly in this second half. And you can see that, well, it's still not over yet, and you can never rule Manchester City out. They could score. They can score goals very quickly. It's a foul on Kai Havertz by Mateo Kovacic, who's claimed he dived. Michael Oliver disagrees and gives a free kick to Arsenal. It's midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. As Kai Havertz is just stretching his leg out, maybe suffering a bit of cramp. And he just gets himself to his feet, and the Arsenal fans beginning to celebrate. But there's still time left. There's still 8 minutes left, plus stoppage time. Plenty of time for Manchester City to get back into this game. As Mikel Arteta looking on, as Declan Rice is going to take this free kick. It's again a very high line by Arsenal. And it's going to be taken now by Declan Rice. Swings it in. Up in the air goes Thomas Partey, but he's beaten in the air and it's headed out of play by Manuel Akanji, and it's going to be a throw-in for the Arsenal. As Declan Rice picks up a yellow card for, I believe that would be for time wasting. So Declan Rice going into the referee's notebook on 83 minutes. So the throw-in is level with the Manchester City penalty area. It's going to be taken by Kivia, looking for Kai Havertz, but it comes off Martinelli and goes behind for a goal kick. Ederson taking it quickly, releases the ball here, and off on his way now goes Jack Grealish. The first time he's really being brought into this game. Grealish drops the ball back there to Kovacic. It's now with Gundogan. And it's Grealish. Grealish gives the ball to Kovacic, and it's with Akanji. Thought about the shot, but played it to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva cuts inside, and it's across to Ruben Diaz. Diaz thinking about the shot, but it's held up. And it's now with the number 10, Grealish. Drops it back to Akanji. Akanji's going to swing that ball in, but David Raya comes out and claims the ball. And that's a good save by David Raya. And, well, Arsenal have holding off so well here. Manchester City, you just begin to wonder whether they're running out of ideas. But David Raya clears the ball downfield. And it's just flicked on that time. And goes all the way back through here to Gvardiol. Gvardiol releases the ball across to Manuel Akanji. Manuel Akanji over to the right-hand side there to Bernardo Silva. Cuts inside Bernardo Silva. Bit of space in front of him now. He lays the ball off for Diaz with a shot. But it's way, way over the crossbar and wide. And very disappointing for Manchester City from their perspective. As Martinelli is now screaming at Manuel Akanji. And Manuel Akanji is trying to get things moved on here because we have 5 minutes to go. And Gabriel Jesus is readying himself to come on for Arsenal. We're just trying to see who the replacement is going to be for the Brazilian. I have to say it's probably going to be Kai Havertz. I would have thought that would be like for like, but we'll see. I'll be naming my player of the match in about 3 or 4 minutes' time. I think there's probably 1 or 2 that we can name, but I will give you that in about 3 or 4 minutes' time. The ball is won there and goes out of play from Manchester City. It's going to be a throw-in, or actually it's going to be a throw-in for Manchester City. It's taken quickly by Jack Grealish. I think Arsenal wanted to make the substitute. Grealish took the throw-in quickly, though. Here comes Diaz. Diaz plays the ball to Akanji. It's over out onto the right-hand side there to Bernardo Silva. It comes back to Diaz, to Akanji. Akanji to Kovacic. Kovacic is about 30 yards out, gives the ball to Gvardiol. Gvardiol. Lifted in by Gundogan, the head up by Foden, and just headed out by Partey only to the edge of the area. Super save from David Raya! From the shot from Gvardiol, forces a super save from the Arsenal goalkeeper one more time. He caught it so sweetly on the volley there, Gvardiol. And Raya gets down to his right-hand side to make that save. And that is a good stop. It broke loose, but Gundogan certainly nowhere near it. The substitute has been made, and it's actually Gabriel Martinelli for Jesus. So whether Jesus is going to go down to the left-hand side, I think is probably what's going to happen. So Jesus is on for Martinelli, and here's Kovacic. And it's with Ruben Diaz. Diaz holds the ball up to Gundogan. Gundogan lays the ball off to Akanji. And here's Bernardo Silva. And it's launched into the box there that time by Ruben Diaz. Diaz lays the ball off now to the number 24 Gvardiol. It's back to Akanji. Akanji lifts the ball in. It's headed up into the air there by Jesus and helped on by Thomas Partey. Only as far as Ruben Diaz. It's still about 35 yards out. Diaz lays the ball off to Fodu, gives it to Kovacic. It's now with Akanji. Down on the right-hand side to Silva. Back to Ruben Diaz. And now here is Kovacic. Kovacic back to Diaz. Diaz to Bernardo Silva. 2 minutes left here. The next stoppage and play, I'll give you the player of the match. Here's Kovacic. Kovacic to Grealish. Grealish plays the ball across there to the number 3, Diaz. Diaz back to Kovacic again. Kovacic holds the ball up. Good ball here to Akanji. Corner of the penalty area, right-hand side. Back again to Grealish. To Kovacic, to Foden, to Grealish. In the penalty area, left-hand side this time. Lays it up there to Kovacic. It's all the way back to Diaz. Oh, a super block that time. And it's bouncing around in there. And finally it comes off Haaland, I think. He's not going to take any chances. He just picks the ball up there. Does David Raya. Gabriel is down. And it looks like he's taken a smack in the mouth. Media radio jingles and gaming says it looks like Arsenal has surely won the game. But we do see late goals that could happen from City. Never rule City out. You just never know. But I'm going to give our player of the match now. And the player of the match I've decided to give to the man that is down, Gabriel. Gabriel's got, it's not just his goal that he scored, he's been defending brilliantly throughout this second half. And he, for me, has earned the player of the match. So today's player of the match, as sponsored by Commentary Services, goes to Arsenal's number 6, Gabriel. And we're inside that last minute now. It looks like a substitution is going to need to happen because Timmer is limping. And he's gone down again. And this is not what Arsenal need. Another injury. Jurrien Timmer is looking at making a switch. He's still down. They've got one more substitute, of course, to Arsenal. They're furious at the Manchester City players. They're demanding that this game get back underway. Timmer is still down. He got up momentarily, but he was limping. We have got 7 minutes of stoppage time at the end of this game. Timmer is still limping. I'm not sure where the 7 minutes have come from, but 7 minutes it is, and Timmer is down. Yes, Ross, I just actually named the player of the match. The player of the match is Gabriel. I've already named the player of the match. So it is another yellow card is coming out now, to whom I'm not sure. We'll just see. Bernardo Silva it is, in fact. So Bernardo Silva finds his way into the referee's notebook. And in 1 minute into stoppage time, as looks like a substitution is going to be made by Arsenal. Just trying to see who it is, actually. I suspect Timmer is coming off. Yes, Timmer is coming off. And coming on is Miles Lewis-Skelly is coming on for Arsenal. So Miles Lewis Skelly is on, and Jurien Timmer is off, and possibly another injury crisis here for Jurien Timmer, who spent much of last season out injured. And here's City coming forward now with Gavardiol. And he plays the ball across there to Akanji. Akanji to Foden. We're inside the 7 minutes of stoppage time. It's Foden. A crossover to the right-hand side, and it's Manuel Akanji. Akanji swings the ball in. It's headed up into the air by Erling Haaland, but plucking that out of the air is David Raya. And he just holds the ball and just falls on it, and he'll take all the time in the world. Russ has said he's confirming that it's going to be longer than the 7 minutes that the referee has added on initially due to the delays which happened before the 90th minute. Well, that's usually the case. I suspect that there'll be another couple of minutes added on. We could well be seeing 9 or 10 minutes added on as extra because of the injury at around the turn of the 90th minute. Gavardiol drops the ball back there to Ederson. Ederson clears the ball outfield. And coming forward here is Bernardo Silva. Lays the ball off to Manuel Akanji. Akanji storming over the halfway line. It is still 2-1 to Arsenal as we're inside stoppage time. It's Gundogan across to Silva. Silva gets the ball back to Foden. Foden across to Ruben Diaz. And here's Gavardiol. Grealish now down the left-hand side. Getting into the penalty area. Back to Gavardiol. Gavardiol. Arsenal's defence holding tight so far. Diaz. Back to Foden down the right-hand side, and it's Kovacic there who just lays the ball off to Diaz. Diaz thinking about the shot, gives it to Foden. Oh, good interception that time by Gabriel Jesus, and cleared out of play by Miles Lewis Skelly, and it's going to be a throw-in for Manchester City as Foden demanding that they hurry this up. It's Manuel Akanji. Time ticking down for Manchester City. Still 2-1 to Arsenal. It's now with Gavardiol. Down the left-hand side there to Jack Grealish. Grealish cuts inside. He stumbles over, but Grealish still maintains possession as Kai Havertz had it for a moment, but he was comfortably dispossessed. Here's Grealish. He's about 30 yards out. Given to Foden. Over to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva's got Jesus in front of him. Good challenge by Jesus on Bernardo Silva. And now, can Jesus break forward for Manchester City? For Arsenal. He holds the ball up well and drops it back to Lewis Skelly. Skelly under pressure from Gundogan. And he decides to drop the ball back to Gabriel, our player of the match, who launches the ball downfield. And it goes out of play. And the throw-in is taken quickly. And here's Kovacic now for Manchester City. Desperate times for City. Here's Foden to Silva. Down the right-hand side. Pulled across there to Ruben Diaz. But just nipping in there was Thomas Partey. And Phil Foden lays it off back to Ederson. Ederson gives the ball to Grealish now down the left-hand side. He's also got Gavardiol in front of him as Grealish. Grealish cuts inside. The ball's across there to Phil Foden. Foden tries to get a shot away. Really good block by the Arsenal there. And now it's back with Silva. Cutting across him now is Gabriel Jesus making a wonderful challenge. Gabriel Jesus just holds the ball up now. He's almost by his own corner flag and falls over the ball, and he ends up running it behind for a corner to City. It's taken quickly by Bernardo Silva. And did Gabriel Jesus nip in and kick the ball away? I think he did. It's going to be a booking for Gabriel Jesus for kicking the ball away. When will these Arsenal players learn you can't kick the ball away? It's now a corner to Manchester City. Booking for Gabriel Jesus, kicking the ball away. And the corner is going to be taken here by Bernardo Silva. He swings it in. Raya comes for it and claims it with authority. And he falls on the ball as we go into the last minute of stoppage time, the minimum of 7. Of course, it's likely that Michael Oliver will add on a few more minutes as a consequence of the injury to Timmer. As David Raya will take all the time in the world to clear this ball now. And finally, he launches it downfield, right-footed. And just nipping in there is Kai Havertz. Oh, Havertz may just get in there, but Ederson just gets in front of Havertz and blocks out that attempt by the German international. And now all of a sudden, City coming forward with Akanji. Manuel Akanji just drops the ball across to Ilkay Gundogan. Ticking down now, Ruben Diaz. Diaz down the left-hand side to Jack Grealish. Can Arsenal hold on? Grealish gets into the penalty area, and that is a really good interception by Saliba, who knocks the ball behind for a corner. And it's a corner for Manchester City, taken quickly by Grealish. Grealish inside the penalty area now. They can't let him get too close. It's back to Foden. What he's done? He's blocked. Oh, he's in. He's in. Oh, the goal has been scored. Oh, last minute of extra time. And I'm not quite sure it's John Stones a substitute. Oh, that is heartbreak for Arsenal. John Stones a substitute. Pushes the ball over the goal line. I thought they let the substitute Grealish get in too close, too tight, and they allowed that move to take place. John Stones is the goal scorer. It's 2-2. It's heartbreak for Arsenal, but at the end of the day, they would have taken a point from this game from the beginning, as David Raya just sits on his knees. He can't believe it. Gabriel there. Let's just take a look at this. The corner was taken quickly. Grealish was onside, no question. Grealish cuts inside. The shot is, I think that's by Kovacic. It hits the Arsenal defender, Kivia. And of course, David Raya has already flown to his left-hand side. It hits Kivia and then just breaks loose to John Stones. And it's 2-2. And all of a sudden, the two players are coming together. What is happening here? I just wonder whether the VAR are checking this. But the two teams have come together, and there's a lot of disagreement going on right now. I think this is being reviewed by VAR. This is being reviewed by VAR. Has the goal been given? I really don't know at this stage. Arsenal are arguing. City have moved away, so I assume it has been given. Indeed it has, and the game gets back underway. So it's 2-2, and down there goes Thomas. Oh, it was over an incident with Thomas Partey, actually. And everybody is, the tempers are flared in this game, all right. It's been a challenging game for both teams, and you can see there that Haaland is going over to be having a word by Michael Oliver. And really now everybody just needs to keep their heads. Arsenal can't afford to have any more players suspended. They've already lost Timmer today. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. And also the sending off of Trossard means he misses the next game. So it's a free kick to Arsenal anyway. It's to be taken by David Raya. And it's long into... That's it. That's full time. It's 2-2. The spoils are shared. Well, Arsenal certainly would have taken that at the beginning of the game. But they'll look at it now as 2 points dropped. It was just a few minutes before the end, if that, more like a few seconds. And, John Stones scrambles from a fortunate deflection off Jakub Kiwior. The two teams are still arguing, but the goal-scoring summary is this. Haaland gave City the lead on 9 minutes. On 22 minutes, Ricardo Calafiori equalised. And in the last minute of stoppage, the first minute of stoppage time, Gabriel gave Arsenal the 2-1 lead, and then Leandro Trossard got sent off. And finally, in the last minute of stoppage time, John Stones capitalises on a fortunate deflection, and we end this game at the Etihad Stadium of Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. Back to you, Ross.
Wow. What a game of football. Just as Arsenal thought they would have won it deep into stoppage time, heartbreak happened as England's John Stones rescues a point for the citizens. We'll get Paul James's overall thoughts shortly on this. And thrilling Premier League encounter. Arsenal all brave for them at the end. Could that Leandro Trossard red card have cost them all 3 points? It'd been interesting to see the second half with 11 v 11. I'm wondering whether that red card for Trossard may have cost Arsenal the chance to get all 3 points at the Etihad Stadium this afternoon, where it is finished Man City 2, Arsenal 2. I'll quickly run you through the other scores from today, get the thoughts of Paul, then we'll round up the overall scores from the Premier League this weekend, and then finish off with the Premier League table. In the Championship then, Preston North End 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. Both teams finished with 10 men in that game at Deepdale and Lancashire Derby. Sam Greenwood sent off in the 42nd minute for Preston North End, stray red card for him, and a stray red card for Owen Beck in the 89th minute, as Osmarcic only got a yellow card despite biting the all-known Liverpool fullback on the back of the neck in that game at Deepdale in the Lancashire Derby. In the Premier League 2, which is the under-21s division, Everton under-21s ran out 4-3 winners over Sunderland under-21s. In the Women's Super League today, it also finished between these two sides that we've listened to in the Men's Premier League. In the Women's WSL, it also finished Arsenal 2, Man City 2 there. Beth Mead scoring in the 81st minute for Arsenal. Leonardson Manham put Arsenal in front on 8 minutes. Miedemar equalised on 42 against a former side. Jess Park then put City into the lead before Beth Mead got a point for the Gunners at the Emirates. Liverpool 1, Leicester 1 in the WSL. Og with the goal in first half stoppage time for Liverpool, but Rantala equalised on 53 minutes, and that's the way he stayed in that game, which was played at Prenton Park, which is also the home of Tranmere Rovers. Tottenham Hotspur against Crystal Palace in the Women's Super League as well. 4-0 win for Spurs. Rasso, Naz, Spence and Atina with the goals there. That game was taking place at Brisbane Road, which is also the home of Leyton Orient Football Club. Aspin got sent off for 2 yellow cards in stoppage time at the end of that game for Crystal Palace. So Crystal Palace finished that game with 10 players, Tottenham beating them by 4 goals to 0 in the Women's Super League. In the Women's Championship, Charlton Athletic 2, Durham 1, Birmingham City 4, Portsmouth 0, London City Lionesses 2, Bristol City 1, Newcastle United 2, Sheffield United 0, and Southampton 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. In the Women's Champions League, Volska Polatova from Ukraine 0, Celtic 1. Celtic getting a good result there in the Women's Champions League. In the French Ligue 1, finished Monaco 3, Le Havre 1, Angers 1, Nantes 1, Brest 2, Toulouse 0, Montpellier 3, Auxerre 2. Lyon against Marseille is a 7:45 UK time kickoff this evening. In the German Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen 4, Wolfsburg 3, and Stuttgart 5, Borussia Dortmund 1. And in 14 minutes, it's St. Pauli 0, RB Leipzig 0. In the Dutch Eredivisie today, 4 games took place today. Heerenveen 2, Groningen 1, Almere City 0, FC Twente 5, Feyenoord 2, NAC Breda 0, and Fortuna Sittard 1, PSV Eindhoven 3. In the Scottish League Cup, Celtic 5, Falkirk 2. In the Spanish La Liga, Getafe 1, Leganés 1, Athletic Club 3, Celta Vigo 1. Second half is underway between Villarreal and Barcelona. Barcelona leading 2-1 in that game. Robert Lewandowski with a brace there. Let's put one back for Villarreal. Nicola Pepe thought he'd equalised into the second half just a couple of minutes ago. That was disallowed for offside. And Marc-Andre ter Stegen has been substituted on a stretcher in that game for Barcelona this afternoon. And at 8 o'clock is Rayo Vallecano taking on Atletico de Madrid in that one at 8 p.m. this evening. We'll keep you up to date. If you want to find out the score from the games that are taking place right now, latest scores, head on over to your websites where you find your scores and check out the results there. Before we get the classified check from the Premier League for the weekend score, which you can weekend's games, which you can see scores going across the bottom of your screen. Before I read those out here at the end of the Premier League table, let me just fetch back in your match commentator for this afternoon's game. Paul James has done absolutely fantastic commentary there this afternoon, Paul. But Paul, now you've got your breath a bit. Just talk us through that game as a whole, and what's your overall thoughts on the game?
Well, what I found most interesting that when Arsenal equalised, they were in control of the game. They deserved the goal before half time, and the game turned when Trossard got sent off. It was a monumentally stupid thing to do, knowing that Declan Rice had been sent off for something contentious, if you will, in the game against Brighton in kicking the ball away. The very last thing he should have been doing is kicking the ball. He knows he's on a yellow card, and I think it's probably led to City dominating that second half. But I mean, I don't know if it would have been any different if they had 11 men on the field. Nobody can say. But I think at the time, Arsenal were very much in control of the game before that happened, and I would say to me they may have held on to win it, but the goal had some fortune to it because the shot took a deflection off Kivia and it fell for John Stones with David Raya on his backside. And he was able to put the ball into the net. So I think at the beginning of the game, every single Arsenal fan, including myself, would have taken a point, absolutely. Now it feels like 2 points dropped, but still it has to be kept into context. It's a fabulous result for Arsenal.
Yes, absolutely, Paul. And Media Radio Jingles and Gaming, our good friends over there, has said, great commentary as always, Paul. All breaking
Thank
at
you.
the end for Arsenal, but we did see it coming from City. That's what we've talked about it numerous of times, Paul. Not on this stream today, but in past streams and past seasons. You can never and I think you actually mentioned it in the game as well. Never write off Manchester City. They always seem to find a way, whether they're creating chances after chances and teams are holding on like Arsenal were doing for the biggest part of that second half, Paul. And they always seem to find a way through to get an equalising goal or a goal to get something from a game that could be losing 2-1 and they could get two late goals. Today, they didn't have enough time to get two late goals. They only managed to get one to get a draw. But we've seen it time and time again. Just going back to the time when they won the title from Manchester United as well, Paul, when Sergio Aguero's had the equalising stoppage time. And then we all remember that Aguero moment. Something like that could have easily happened today had there been more time on top of what I know they played an extra couple of minutes on top of the 7 which was added on for the injury to Timber. If we'd added a bit extra on, we could have seen something similar to the Aguero moment, say from Erling Haaland or Phil Foden type of player who's good in those areas inside the penalty area, Paul.
Well, I mean, that's I don't know. Arsenal's defence is very resilient. One thing I'll say about Arsenal's defence is it's the best in the country. There's no question about it. I don't care what anybody says. Arsenal's defence is the best in the country. They shut teams down. They shut teams out. That second half was wholly dependent mostly on City having to take the longer shot from outside the penalty area. They close out passing lanes. They close out shooting lanes. They make vital challenges. They make it very difficult. You have to remember this Manchester City team is world class internationals. There's just player after player after player that can break a team that week in week out break down defenses. It's not just Erling Haaland, and they were not able to do it for much of that second half. And in the end, they did rely on a fortuitous deflection. I give City their credit; they was outstanding. They worked hard. They threw everything at Arsenal and fully deserved the equaliser in the end. If I'm being honest, I think a draw was probably the right result. But at the end of the day, there was some fortune on that equaliser when it bounced off Kivier's face and fell to John Stones. So I think Arsenal's defence is very resilient, and I don't think it gets spoken about enough. So I just kind of wanted to take the time to mention that.
Yeah, you're actually spot on to and right to actually mention that because they've been brilliant this season, the Arsenal defence. When you look at some of the results that Arsenal have got this season, Paul, if you just look back at the game against Tottenham last, last week, which obviously I know I covered and you did in Tottenham, 15 attempts to Arsenal's 8. Arsenal won that game 1-0. Spurs with 4 block shots in that game, 6 off target, 5 on goal, 5 brilliant saves from David Raya. We saw it in the game against Atalanta to get a point in the Champions League on Thursday night as well, Paul, and we saw it against Brighton when they got a 1-all draw in that game against Brighton when Declan Rice was sent off. Similar situation to the Trossard incident. They got hung in there to get a point after Brighton equalised in midway in the second half. In the second half, there just a few seconds after the red card incident for Declan Rice, and we've seen it against Aston Villa. Aston Villa pushed and pushed and pushed, tried to get a goal. They couldn't break down the Arsenal rear guard. Same against Wolves at the start of this season as well. And you can go back towards back in the last season against Everton on the final day, Man United game just before that, Bournemouth just before that. Arsenal's defence in the last few matches back in the last season, they won 3-0 against Bournemouth, 1-0 against Man United, 2-1 against Everton, Arsenal, 2-0 against Wolves, 2-0 against Villa, drew 1-1 with Brighton, and beat Spurs 1-0, beat, and then drew 0-0 with Atalanta, drew 2-2 today. So in the last few matches, Paul, Arsenal have only conceded, going back to the 4th of May, they've only conceded 2 today, 1 against Everton, that's 3, 1 against Brighton, so they've only conceded 4 goals, say in the Premier League, since May last year, which always seems to be built around good, solid defences and goalkeepers.
Well, there were only 1 or 2 teams to finish with a lower goals against average than 1. They finished the season with less than a 1 goal against average. If you look at Arsenal's defence, and if I pull up last season's stats, and I can just pull up last season's stats, and we'll look at the goalkeeping, because David Raya was the goalkeeper for much of last season. You can see that David Raya was running at a 0.75 goals against average. I mean, even Aaron Ramsdale was running at 0.83. There's a 68% save percentage, which shows that the save percentage is still fairly average there, but that shows the shots are not coming in. In fact, all season, David Raya only faced 69 shots. That's testament to Arsenal's defence. And those are your statistics. Those are the information that I collect in my prep work. As you know, you've seen the prep work I put into commentaries. But you're looking at 69 shots all season that Arsenal have faced in 38 games. So if you face 69 and you divide that by 38, that's an average of under 2 shots on his goal a game.
Yes, absolutely, Paul. Absolutely. What really good stuff. They will bring it in a second. We'll bring in Mike Ornament to get his thoughts. But just one final thing to ask you then, Paul. Obviously, you're in Mikel Arteta's shoes, and we'll ask Mike same question in a moment as well, after I've got his overall thoughts on the game today. But putting Mikel Arteta's shoes right now, Paul, 2-2 draw, being 2-1 up in the game, 2-1 up since the end of first half stoppage time. First minute of first half stoppage time that he had until the stoppage time at the end of the second half. Trossard getting sent off. What would you be thinking after that performance today, only to come away from the Etihad with a draw after leading for so long in the game, Paul? If he was in
Well, I
Arteta's
think
shoes.
he's gonna have mixed feelings, isn't he? He's gonna have feelings. He's gonna see it as 2 points drop. Excuse me, I apologise. He's gonna see it as 2 point. He's gonna see it as 2 points dropped. But he's also going to be happy to have picked up a point with all the injury problems and the fact that he had 10 men for the entire second half. They'll look at that as a as 2 points dropped, but he'll also look at it as a good result to come away from the Etihad with a 2-2 draw when he's played one half of football with 10 men.
Yes, absolutely, Paul. Thank you very much. There's the thoughts of Paul James. Now we're going to fetch in one of our good friends of the channel, another contributor to the channel, in our good friend Mike Ornament, who's with us right now. First of all, Mike, how you doing, my friend? You all good?
Wow, just getting my breath back after that. But yeah, doing well, thanks. How are you, mate?
All good, thank you, Mike. Mike, just while we've got you in there, Mike, just talk to us about the overall game today from your perspective, having watched that game this afternoon.
Wow, what a game of football. First of all, what an advert for Premier League football. Like, that is the first thing I need to say, because that is two fantastic teams, two teams that have been challenging for the last few seasons and will challenge again this season. And one will come out on top, obviously, hopefully Arsenal. But I just feel that performance today, without Martin Odegaard, without Bukayo Saka for the whole of the second half after he had to be substituted as well, without Leandro Trossard, after his red card, especially in the second half, I thought we were excellent. I think we defended brilliantly. I think that, yes, it hurts to concede a goal last minute like that, but if you were to ask any Arsenal fan before the game, would we have settled for a point? 100%. If you're going to go to the Etihad, don't lose the game, and we haven't lost the game, so it's still a positive result in that aspect. But yeah, it could have been so much better. Obviously, we'll go back right to the 8th minute when Erling Haaland scored for City, and then I think a lot of Arsenal fans thought, well, this is Erling Haaland at his best, and Manchester City, could actually run away with this, and if they get the next goal, it could have been 2 or 3. But we showed a lot of fight, we showed a lot of heart, we showed a lot of hunger, and a cracking finish from Calafiori. That's not a bad way to get your first goal in the Premier League, is it? And then obviously the goal from Gabriel as well to put us ahead. But as I say, after the red card for Leandro Trossard, which I think is a red card, by the way, yes, the consistency factor has to be brought into it, because Doku should have been booked for kicking the ball away earlier in the half as well. But not to take that away from Leandro Trossard's stupidity there, because I do feel that was the case when you're on a yellow card. We see it with Declan Rice earlier in the season. You don't boot the ball away and stop play like that, because you are going to get punished. And the punishment there was a second yellow. But yeah, after that, we defended brilliantly. And as I say, very proud of the effort.
Yes, and Mike, you heard me asking Paul the question at the end, then for Stewing. I'm going to put you in Mikel Arteta's shoes right now. You were leading for quite a bit of that game today, 2-1, and only to be pegged back in the 98th minute, especially when played the entirety of the second half. A man down in the closing few stages in the first half, a man down as well. What would you be thinking after that performance today, and what would you be saying to the players right now?
First of all, you've got to tell them how proud you are after that, because what was it? I think we had 53 minutes, I think it was, of the second half, something like that. And then obviously Man City scored with virtually the last kick almost. So we defended very, very well for all of that. And first of all, you have to say how proud you are of the team. As I say, yes, it does hurt not to get the 3 points, because it did look like we were going to up until that last minute John Stones goal. But yeah, just got to say how proud you are of the efforts there of the team. And yes, Leandro Trossard was stupid. It didn't cost us too heavily in the end. Because if Manchester City had scored earlier on in that half, they would have had a lot more time, and we might have had to go for it a bit more, considering as it was all dominant for Manchester City, and we were able to hold firm defensively. And then it would have been a real different test if Man City had scored in the first 5 or 10 minutes of that second half, which they didn't do. So, yeah, just got to be proud of the efforts and, go on to the next one, I suppose.
Yeah, also, Mike, just want to get your thoughts on the player of the match. Obviously, Paul gave it to the defender and the scorer of the second goal for Arsenal, Gabriel, after another goal in the Premier League, after scoring last week as well against Spurs. What do you make to Gabriel's performance, and would you have said he was your player of the match as well? If not, who would you have given the player of the match to this evening, Mike?
You could have given it to a number of those defenders, to be honest. I think Yuri Timber again was excellent. I think Calafiori had a decent game, took his goal well as well. Saliba did very well against Erling Haaland. Obviously Erling Haaland did score against him this season, which obviously he wasn't able to do last year. But second half, it was routine defensive work for Saliba and for Gabriel. So, yeah, I think Gabriel's a fair shout. Yeah, and Saliba, could have been up there for another mention as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, Mike, I just want to get your thoughts as well on David Ray. He made some wonderful saves this afternoon, and he also made some wonderful saves in the week as well, especially that double save against Atalanta in the week. What have you made to his performances so far this season, Mike, since and towards the back end of last season as well when he came in as first choice keeper?
I've got 4 words for you. Best in the league. He's the best keeper in the league. Don't care about Edison. Don't care about Alisson. They are good keepers. But David Raya this season has been standout the best keeper in the league.
I would have to agree with you there, Mike. I think for me, it'd be up there for me. For me, I think he'd just pick, for me, the one for me, in the top 3 for me would be, I'm not going to get in, and this is in any order, Mike. For me is Raya, Edison, and Alisson, and then it's closely followed by he plays for a team that I don't really rate. But after that, for me, I know Man United are not having a good season, but I think in some of the games, especially yesterday, fantastic double save yesterday from Andre Onana. I think he's in the top 4 for goalkeepers in the Premier League, Mike, and you can see what he means to the Arsenal players to have a goalkeeper in David Raya who's very commanding of his box. And at times last season, Ramsdale would do that for Arsenal, but not to the same extent as what David Raya is doing.
Yeah, 100%. I did like Aaron Ramsdale. I thought he was a good goalkeeper. But David Raya has shown that Mikel Arteta's trust in him was right. It was right to go with David Raya as the number 1 goalkeeper. And as much as I liked Aaron Ramsdale, we've upgraded on him with David Raya, I think, personally, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much there, Mike, for your thoughts. Let's just quickly, before we do finish in a couple of minutes' time, let me quickly run you through the Premier League scores for the weekend. Starting off on Saturday afternoon, West Ham United 0, Chelsea 3, Aston Villa 3, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Fulham 3, Newcastle United 1, Leicester City 1, Everton 1, Liverpool 3, Bournemouth 0, Southampton 1, Ipswich Town 1, Tottenham Hotspur 3, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester United 0, Brighton and Albion 2, Nottingham Forest 2 was today, and also Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. So this is how the Premier League table looks, and we'll start off with the bottom half of the table. Man United sit in 11th on 7 points. Brentford, who lost to Tottenham, sit in 12th on 6 points as well. Bournemouth are in 13th on 5 points. West Ham are in 14th on 4 points. Leicester are in 15th on 3 points. Palace are in 16th on 3 points. Ipswich are outside the bottom 3 now on 3 points. Southampton in the bottom 3 on 1 point, Everton in 19th on 1 point, and Wolverhampton Wanderers in rock bottom on a point. Going into the top half of the Premier League table, in 10th is Tottenham Hotspur on 7 points, Fulham in 9th on 8 points, Nottingham Forest after their 2-2 draw with Bournemouth today. They are in 8th place on 9 points, Brighton above them in 7th on 9 points as well. Newcastle in 6th on 10 points. Chelsea in the top 5 on 10 points. Arsenal in 4th on 11 points, a point behind. Aston Villa in 3rd on 12 and Liverpool in 2nd on 12. And they're just 2 points behind the leaders at the moment. And last season's champions, Manchester City, who sit top on 13 points in the table. And as Mike Riley says, crazy day today, as both games between Man City and Arsenal have ended 2-2. 2-2 at the Emirates in the Women's Super League between Arsenal and Manchester City, and then 2-2 at the Etihad this afternoon in the Premier League and the Men's Premier League. Media Radio Jingles and Gaming says Aaron Ramsdale was a good goalkeeper for Arsenal, but Ray has been a much better goalkeeper for Arsenal now. Thank you very much for your contribution throughout this afternoon, Media Radio Jingles and Gaming. Also, thanks to Mike's contribution as well. Sue as well, thank you to yours as well. Luke earlier as well, thank you for your contributions as well. Thank you very much to everybody who's been listening. If you have been listening and not got involved today, thank you very much as well. Your support does really mean a lot to not just myself and not just Paul and Mike, but all the team here at the Commentary for anytime you tune in. Big thank you once again to Paul for excellent coverage once again on this Premier League Sunday, Manchester City against Arsenal. Thank you to Mike for his input at the end as well, for his punditry at the end of the game as well. So one thing left for me to say is Arsenal thought they'd won it until up stepped John Stones to rescue a point for the citizens. Full time at the Etihad as we leave you this evening is Manchester City 2, Arsenal 2. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again soon here on the Commentary Hub and all our partner channels. Goodbye.